So I decided to do another cold reading of a play. Of course, once again, I'm no actor, okay? So just bear with me. But this is a cold reading, and I just thought I'd put it out there. I wrote this actually back in 1983, and it was originally called What Else Can I Say? And I just wrote it in one draft back in 1983 and then just left it as is for many years. And then it was about 2011 when I took it up again and rewrote it the best I could and condensed it and redrafted. And I think I redrafted it, I don't know, like 3-4 times. And then I sent it out to a couple theaters. And one theater, I can't remember what it was a Jewish theater in, let me see if I can find this thing, a Jewish theater, I think it was in Minnesota or Wisconsin. Let me see. St. Paul, I think that was. Remember right? Yeah, it was in Minnesota Jewish Theater Company in Minnesota, in St. Paul, Minnesota. That's right. And they were in the process of developing it, and it was, I don't know, they were interested in it, and then they developed it to a degree, and then they stopped. I don't know why. I think maybe because I never, you know, when I used to live in New Jersey, and I would do developments in New York City, I was right there, so I could participate. And I couldn't participate in person. You know, I live in Oklahoma. I couldn't go to Minnesota. So I think that had a lot to do with it. A lot of the feedback they weren't getting from me properly. I think maybe that probably had a lot to do with it. And then, so they developed it to a degree, and then they stopped the project. And it would have been my first full length being produced, or developed. And then if it went through that developmental workshop, it would have went to the point of actually having a actual production. But I just never got to that point. And so that was that. But anyway, I'll probably die as a person that's never had any full-length plays produced, you know. I mean, I'm sure there's many, hundreds of thousands of playwrights out there that, I mean, in order to get an agent, you have to have a full-length production. And a whole production, like, I've had one-act plays produced, but they were with, like, other one-act plays for the evening. Whereas if you have a full-length production, you're the centerpiece. I mean, you're the only thing playing that night. It's the only play playing that night. And I have yet to ever have that in my entire life. So I never really made it, so to speak, or even, well, I don't know about making it in the theater industry, but I mean, maybe a Sam Shepard could do that, but but at least have some kind of to actually be able to express myself in theater and have a name for myself, you know. I'll never attain that. So anyway, this is a play in 2 acts. It's very long, by the way. It's very long play. But I'm going to do it, hopefully I could do it in, read it in, I'll do Act 1, then Act 2, and if not, then I'll even break it up in scenes if need be. Excuse me. It's 117 pages long, 150, run about 2 hours long if it did actually get produced. The play is called A Fish Without an Anchor. Play in 2 acts, and then I finally finished it in 2013. And players are Paul Benjamin, unsophisticated Jew, 30 years old, Joyce Robbins, sophisticated prostitute, 30 years old, Elsie Robbins, mature, 8 years old. Randy Robbins, ex-husband to Joyce, police officer, 30 years old. Excuse me. Roles double accordingly. John Trick, the raper, police officer, and Meg Thelman's voice. Various ages played by Randy Robbins. Scene, Act 1. Scene 1, Paul and Joyce's residences. Scene 2, Joyce's residence. Scene 3, Joyce and Paul's residence. Act 2 is Scene 1, Joyce and Paul's residences. Scene 2, Joyce and Paul's residences. Then time is Act 1, Scene 1, present. Scene 2, 1 week later. Scene 3, 1 week later. Act 2, Scene 1, following night. Scene 2, 1 week later. And then I'm just going to read it. I'll take vapes in between, and we'll go from there. Act 1, Scene 1, setting Joyce's residence. At Rise, present day autumn. As the lights fade up, we see Paul Benjamin peeks through the hallway. Paul. Too bad. Right place. He enters, he peers around, he crosses to his residence with luggage in hand. John Trick's voice. Yellow, not tangerine, yellow. Joyce Robbins' voice. Is it my fault? Is it? Paul is about to key open the door. John Trick's voice. Double or nothing, sugar. Joyce's voice. 550. Meg Thelman's voice. Oh my dear Lord God, it's to the end of us all. John Trick's voice. I had enough. Please stop. No more brushing. Lights dim up. We see two shadows. One with an outstretched arm with a feather duster held high above a man with his legs bicycling. Paul. My mother warned me. Paul enters his residence. He crosses to the drapes. Forgive me, mother. He exits. Off-stage bathroom. He enters. He crosses to the couch. He sits, falling straight to the floor. Guess one pays extra for such a luxury. He takes off his shoes and socks. He walks over to the bed on the wall. He pulls it down. The instant he lays down, we hear from the other residents Joyce's voice. Don't hurt me. Oh, please have mercy on me. Don't hurt me. Paul. What on earth? Paul crosses to Joyce's residence. Joyce's voice. Stop it. I'm warning you. I'll shoot. Paul knocks on the door. Easy now. Slow and easy, Buster. Paul continues knocking. Paul. Hello? 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 No knock. Hello? As Paul places an ear to the door, the lights fully fade up. We see Joyce running after John Trick with an egg beater. Excuse me. John Trick grabs his pants. He flings open the door, running past Paul, exiting out of the hallway door. Paul enters. That man, Joyce attempts to primp herself. She stands nearly naked. Paul peers around. He sees whips, handcuffs, chains, vibrators, etc. Joyce crosses to the door. Paul, don't tell me. Let me guess. Sales? Joyce, I don't know you, do you? Joyce sizes up Paul. Listen, officer, no funny business going on. That guy, don't I know you? I don't think so, mister. But I've got ID if you need something legit. As Joyce is about to cross into the offstage kitchen, just 1 second, she stops. Don't I know you from somewhere? It's a mystery to me. But I do have ID to reassure you that I live here not under false pretenses. No, he points. That's right, Joyce. Yeah, that's it, Joyce, what's-her-face? She hands him the ID. No, wait, here's a better picture of me. He stares at her. You don't like it. I never cared for that picture either. Too fat, like under the eyes. It's too hairy. I am? She looks at the picture. Now, I never thought I'd see. As she turns away, he peers at her rear end. You again. Joyce Robbins, I thought you were the most solemn girl in the entire world. Paul paces. I thought Randy married you to secure a future for you. Of course, we all have our choices to make in life, and then I didn't know the guy when he married you 10 years ago, and besides, it was only one date we were on. I mean, Randy and you and me and Shelley. Oh, poor dear Shelley. I wonder whatever happened to dear Shelley. I wonder, Joyce, I wonder sometimes myself whatever happened. Listen, man, I have no idea what you have on me, mister, and for some crazy reason, I really don't care. That man that ran out of here was my boyfriend. Unless having a boyfriend these days is against some rule I don't know about. Oh, yes, New York University. I just never thought in my wildest dreams I'd see you again. As he stretches his limbs, she plops onto the couch. She lights a cigarette. I know you? Never thought you would ask. Those were the days. Don't you remember? I'd rather not. I do. I had a great time. We were all alone. I mean, the four of us. Your husband Randy and Shelley and myself. My mother thought Shelley was the perfect girl for me. Little did she know she was a Jew-hating Irish Catholic. I never knew a person could do so many things with the tongue. That is, I mean, mouth to mouth. So what do you expect from a Jew who was brought up to believe the only time he asks for tongue is when it's on sale? That girl cost me a bunch. No fault of my own, I tell you. He picks up a banana/vibrator. Does it peel itself? He just better be taking good care of my daughter this week, or I'll blow him away, all right. You mean I divorced the old bastard years ago? He's probably feeling someone up right now. Isn't he a cop? I don't see the humor. Oh, who cares about him? I had enough being married to him. Do I need it not being married to him? Oh, Jesus, I'm starting to sound like this one over here. You divorced him when? Why? I guess he told you already that when we met, he was a new officer on the beat, and he busted me. And you know, as usual, there are a lot of payoffs. So I did him a favor, and he did one for me. Only I got knocked up with this kid. I ran away from home to get away from my old man, and then like an ass, I had to marry one. Believe me, mister, he was a lot better off as a John than a husband. Anyway, to make a long story short, after my daughter was able to understand that her father was an absolute asshole, I asked for one. And you know something? He happily gave me one. I found out later that he was screwing his dispatcher for some time behind my back during all our years of marriage. And I should have known by the way he described her popping out of his bachelor's cake. And you? And me what, mister? Did you have an affair? Never. I wanted to, but I couldn't. I thought my daughter will have enough to worry about after I tell her that she wasn't born from out of love. Instead, well, you know already. So I thought I was doing best. I was acting like any parent who thinks they're doing best until it's too late to do otherwise. I have to confess I haven't told her about what happened 8 years or so ago. Your daughter is 7 years old? And where is she living? She's really 8, and every 4 weeks she lives with me, and then she goes to her father's, so if you can call him that, for 2 weeks. She comes home in about a week. She's a really good girl. I have no problem with her, mister. Now, are you satisfied with your report? Report? See, there was this other man who came over here a couple of weeks ago asking me all kinds of, all these questions. And guess what? He was working for my husband. I almost went to bed with the SOB. It would have been a hell of a private investigation. Randy wants full custody of my daughter, and he'll do anything to get it, including entrapment. Listen, I only knew Randy for a couple of years at NYU. I think he was planning to finish his graduate studies in criminal justice and then transfer over to Columbia for his doctorate while keeping his part-time beat. Nevertheless, Joyce, I wanted him and yourself to move on to campus because I liked him. That is then. And besides, I thought you had a really fine proclivity. And, well, you should know by now. But he never told me about having a daughter, though I had often wondered. He might have been having an affair with Shelley Nobles and such knobs. I mean, that is bulls. Paul almost loses his balance. I guess this clears matters up now. Not really, because how do I really know you're telling the truth? I guess you'll have to trust me. Yeah, well, trust only lasts so long. Still, I don't really know you. As far as I'm concerned, you're a freak. Well, I guess it would help if you remember me on a formal basis. He places out a hand. Paul Benjamin. Reluctantly, she shakes. I just moved into the brownstone a little while ago. why don't you just have a drink and leave, for I need some time to myself? Can't we just get past the formalities and serve each other? Just have your drink, mister, and get out of here. I don't try to get to the bottom of the story. Just get to the bottom of your drink and leave. Okay, if I can ask you a question, ask. She glances out a window. It's a wonder it hasn't rained with all those clouds. What do you do now for a living? Don't go out in the rain, Elsie. That other man who ran out of here, I am well aware these days that women tend to sleep around with a lot of men. But he was in such a rush when he saw me. Hey, buddy, don't knock it. Knock what? Once was enough. Did you tell Randy about this man? In that investigative report, for I know he'd be very angry if he found out. Hey, mister, it's no damn business of his. He didn't care when I was down and out. I wanted the abortion. He didn't. Or haven't you men figured out we are more than just a damn cubbyhole you can place your belongings away in? I have feelings too. Of course, with that thing between your legs, it's a wonder we haven't shot it off. So don't tell me about things I haven't thought about. You do have a brain, don't you? Oh, good. I'm glad someone in your crazed gender uses his head for something other than, hey, all I said was enough. He was better off as a John. He should have stayed that way. For I know he is still that way. Too bad I got knocked up. Too bad she's a good daughter, or else I'd have news for that investigator, all right. Knocked up by a cop yet. Gee, of all the goddamn luck in the world. And another thing, I still don't know why you were here. Friends with Randy. Big deal. Everyone was a friend with Randy. An awful lot to yourself. Half the time I don't know what you're talking about. Give me $2.50 and you'll get more than lip. I'll give you more than lip for free. Ha ha. Listen, if you're planning to keep me company, please do it in your own apartment. You asking for me to leave? I guess you need a slight hint. Possibly. Leave. Before I use my banana on you. Just 1 minute. 59 seconds. Why so many screams earlier? 46 seconds. I hope you don't act like this with all the time with your neighbors. 38 seconds. I'm teaching at the college downtown, NYU. 35 seconds. The dispatcher, the operator, can assist you if you give her my name. 30 seconds. Remember, Paul Benjamin, like in Benjamin Franklin. 26 seconds. What perplexes me, subtract 15. I had a crush on you in college. 8 seconds. What legends were made of? Well, 7 seconds. Being a philosophy major where the clouds can get you. 3 seconds. Just a little outside joke. 2. Oh, well, I tried. Can't say I didn't try. 1. He places a hand on the doorknob. A teacher. As he turns to her. Are you related to Jesus, or is this too personal? What? You've been walking around in my apartment the last half hour with bare feet. Oh, my goodness. I seriously didn't realize. I just crossed in such a rush that you must think I'm a... Tell me about yourself teaching instead. I ask why. I wanted to be one, but Randy insisted I be a mother first. Besides, he felt a woman's place is at home after marriage. Is that right? It's a matter of where when it comes to whom. Anyone can be a teacher. Philosophy, ethics. No, I'm sorry about that remark. Too late. Your minute was up a minute ago. I wanted to ask something before I go. Go on, now what? Who was that man that ran out of here in such a hurry earlier? A John. John? John who? John Trick. John Trick? Either way is fine. Such an odd name. I never heard it before. He dusts around my apartment. Housemaid? Sometimes whatever he prefers. He sure did make a lot of noise dusting. He likes it when I scream. Why do you scream when he dusts? To tell the truth, and I hope you are, I really rather not know. But scream when somebody dusts? Hey, don't knock it. It pays the bills. It gets me by just fine. A few screams a week, and my rent is paid in full. He pays you to scream in your own apartment? That's how it works. Talk about equal pay for equal work. Are you satisfied now? Not fully. I should have charged you for that minute. What is it now? Why did you run out of here? You thought you were the man. He's not one of those trisexuals, is he? That's transsexual, and I bet he thought of it before. Okay, I'll be leaving now. Possibly for good. But now that we have formally met each other, we could keep in touch. That is, we could. Now that you're not married, or at least I think you're not married. I'm not married. Phone rings. She answers the phone. Yes, $5.25 for the whipping and an extra $100 for talking to the canoe driver. Of course, man, you get the barrel at a discount. What do you think I am, some asshole? You do? Well, she hangs up the phone. Some men think they can get away with anything. I don't want to know about the burial, but talking to the canoe driver? Just a business call. Who talks to the canoe driver? Well, except for you, of course. But, well, you do talk to him, don't you? It's the best lip service in town, unless you want to pay a cheaper price downtown on the strip and wind up with something other than a good tip, if you know what I mean. You work in a park? No, right here. Why should I work in a park? There are enough perverts there as it is. Oh, why didn't I think of that? You're awfully strange, do you know that? Well, now you're not all alone in this great big scary world, now are you? I'm really sorry about Randy. Don't worry, it wouldn't have worked even if it could have. Not even in my wildest fantasies. He opens the door, he steps out. See you around. You're right. She closes the door. She crosses, exits, offstage room. As Paul crosses to his door, he hears a knock on the other side of a door. Excuse me, young man. Paul peers around. Paul crosses to the door. Hello? Please, young man, just a minute of your time. Not another minute. Before you know it, I'll be put on hold. Can I help you? Closer, dearie. He places an ear to the door. My name is Paul Benjamin. I just moved in, I know. Listen. I've been watching you through my peephole, and you look like a nice gentleman, almost like one of my own. Other men have been spying on that girl as well. She's no good, I tell you. Think she's from Russia on an assignment to get rid of me. Sure, I'm an immigrant from Kiev, but what do you expect? The perjury, the injustice. I just couldn't live a decent life. Even now, my boys cry for me. I hear them all the time in my sleep. Don't listen to CNN. No good. Listen to me, I know. I can understand. My great-grandparents were from Russia during the Bolshevik uprising. Jewish? Shh. Someone might be listening in. Right. So see, you need to be thoroughly aware that she has been working in that apartment for some time now. It is her office. She's from the KGB, but I can tell you're from the CIA. I don't know if your Bureau has informed you or not, but let's set the record straight once and for all. Very well? Let's. My one son, the young one, has been in the United States for a lot of years. I couldn't be away from him. See, I stole a passport from an elderly lady. She was senile. What good was it to her? I had to. I tell you, I had to. In some unreasonable manner, I do believe you. Bless you, my dear son. Bless you. You're such a nice young man. Keep a careful eye on that one apartment. For there isn't anything in here to investigate, correct? Men seem to vanish from that apartment. Once I heard several screams and no one came out of there for days. Just screams and no one. Make sure you put that in your report, okay, young man? I believe you. I actually sincerely believe you. And don't worry, I'll tell you a little secret of my own. I'm trying to find this man. His name is John Trick. Now that is odd, don't you think? Well, don't give up trying, you hear, young man? He'll be caught one of these days, and the both of them will be sent back to where they really belong, Siberia. It is all beginning to fit so very nicely into piece. Thank you, and bless you, my dear son. No problem. I'm only a door away. I'll keep an eye on her, all right? Thank you. And by the way, say hello to the president for me when you get the chance. Paul turns to the audience. Talking to the canoe driver. Say hello to the president. The street's supposed to be dangerous. He screams, Mama! Lights out. End of scene 1. So what I'm going to do is actually, because this is going to take a while to read, of course, is I'm going to do each upload as scenes instead of acts, because it's going to take me a long while to read these acts. So I'm going to end this video, and then it'll be called Act 1, Scene 1, just like what how I explained it on that second page of the breakdown of the scenes, and then we'll just do it that way. So anyway, you guys have a good one. Bye. Go on with A Fish Without an Anchor, and this is Act 1, Scene 2, setting Joyce's residence at Rise Day 1 week later. As the lights fade up, we see Paul pacing the parlor with a teacup. Joyce can be seen in the kitchen divider counter preparing a meal. Joyce, simply because you invited me to one of your lectures don't mean that we have been formally on a date. Oh, is that so? You consider one of my lectures simply a fling, do you? I consider this past week a fluke. I can't believe I'm actually standing here across from a man I hardly know. I don't mean to be I don't mean to be rude, but the only reason I went with you in the first place yesterday was because I had nothing better to do. My life is very boring without business or my daughter Elsie to keep me occupied. Oh, thanks a lot. I really feel low now. I thought I was on to something, but I guess it is a technical flaw in my calculations. You can't deduce everything to a series of logical manifestations, you know. Such pun wordage for a woman who never completed high school. Don't you start again. Number 304 of the crossword series. What is the difference between an existentialist and a nihilist? S-A-R-T-R-E and C-A-M-U-S. That is years ago I read. What difference does it make? Only a matter of life and death. I do have my wits about me. I might not have it written in bold lettering upon a certificate, but it's scribbled somewhere in my heart. Let's paint an image entitled, What Do I Do After the Lecture? For starters, you can answer the door. Either you have a long ear, or I just heard something. It's 4:32, and she knocks promptly on the door at 4:30 sharp. If you hurry, you may just be able to catch a girl actually in the act of doing. I'll get it, no problem. And don't forget to lock yourself out, okay? Funny. Paul answers the door. Who is it, Paul? Possibly a housemaid? Why don't you be a gentleman and ask my daughter in? So this is the surprise I've waited for all day. Oh, right, I forgot. Surprise. So why don't you come on in? Thought you'd never ask. Paul takes Elsie's luggage. Elsie stands in awe. My name is... Do you know that you are beautiful? Do you know that I am beautiful? I haven't noticed. You're like heaven. My prayers have been answered. Did you hear that? Unfortunately. That's right. You have very long lobes. You're absolute madness, man. Hear that? I'm driving your 8-year-old daughter wild with passion. Why don't you rev up your neuroses and steer your buttocks right out the door? I don't know if I can fight the pressure any longer, Joyce. Good, maybe you'll burst. Please, don't ever leave me. I wouldn't know what to do without you. You don't know what you're missing, Joyce. Oh, yes, I do. It's not every day I come along a real live hunk. So why don't you make yourself at home? I think I'll just stand here and admire the view. She thinks she'll just stand there and admire the view. Joyce crosses to Elsie. Joyce grabs Elsie's hand, dragging Elsie into the kitchen. He closes the door. Now you come on, Elsie. It isn't good manners. Come into the kitchen. I have a roast in the oven. Don't move. I'll be right back. Oh, no problem. Paul places the luggage on the sofa. He stands by the kitchen partition. Isn't he just boss, Mom? I'll tell you what he is if you really want to know. Joyce and Elsie are in the kitchen. Dinner will be ready shortly. Why did you tell me about that hunk of male flesh? I would have brought my camera along. You know, memories. The only memory I want you to remember is how to prepare this roast. Come on now. Give me that oven mitt. Were you seeing him? And I guess you did more than just lay your eyes on him. Such talk from an 8-year-old. Do you know, miss, my father would have slapped my face until my lip bled. I'm a curious daughter that has a need to move up the social ladder of success. The only success you need to be bothered about is educational, something your mother sure never had. Come on, Mother. I heard enough about that as it is. Besides, there is more to books than words, if you know what I mean. Joyce peeks through the partition. She bumps noses with Paul. Not you, too. Set an example for the child. Don't act like a total jackass. She's going to wonder what other pompous, unblessed nymphs I hang around with. It's a negative influence. Boy, are you pretty when you're telling me to go to hell. Paul, please. Elsie peers up between Joyce and Paul. You have more guts than heart, you know that? The way I feel right now, a little more guts would be a wish come true. Why did you set the table? Why did you set the table? Paul sets the table. Are you satisfied now? Thank you, Paul. Because I'm a decent human being, I'll say thank you, too. So there. Such a mama's boy. Sure you're not in love? Juice the roast, okay? Elsie laughs. What's so funny? You are, Ma. You're so pubescent. Joyce helps Paul set the table. Paul touches her. What are you doing? Trying to get around you. You are you? I was. Unless you want me to try again. Not one move. Elsie, why don't you help Paul set the table? You're such a dear mother. What am I raising, the Queen of England? Joyce crosses into the kitchen. Elsie helps Paul set the table. So how old are you, Elsie? Around 35? Oh, I'm any age you want me to be. 35 sounds perfect. Tell the man how old you are, Elsie. 8. You must have plenty of admirers. She has them wrapped around her little pinky. Can't you tell how they bore her? Then you must be in what grade? 3rd, 5th. I skipped 2 grades in elementary school. No, that's great. I guess so. I wish I had such aptitude when why? So you wouldn't ask such naive questions? What's your favorite subject in school? English, romance novels. English, D.H. Lawrence. Joyce crosses to the table with the roast. Well, should we all sit down, or should we wrap everything and send Paul home with a care package? We haven't even begun to talk about what troubles your deepest desires, Paul. Why don't you just sit and keep such thoughts to yourself? I was afraid you'd say that. Elsie places her chair beside Paul, then sits. Joyce and Paul sits. So what are your plans for this week, Elsie? I guess it all depends on what Joyce has in. Joyce what? Did you call your mother, who brought you into this world without any help from your own flesh and blood father, by her first name? You never did that before. Maybe she forgot we all make mistakes. Why don't you keep your comments to yourself? It is her respect I demand, understand? I'm sorry, Mother. I just didn't want it to sound too what, young lady? Too personal. What has your father taught you this week? To consider your mother a stranger in your own household? I'm sorry, Mother. I just thought. So did your father, I presume. The next time you make me feel impersonal in my own home, I'm going to scream. I said, I'm sorry, Mom. I just wanted everything not too serious. Elsie nods toward Paul. That's all. Yeah, I understand that. I'm sorry, Elsie. Just please don't call me Paul. I'm your mother, sweetheart. Okay, Mom. Don't get like your father with promises, okay? Okay, Mom, I promise. Every other day your father promised one thing, delivered another. I promise, Mom, I promise. Joyce hugs Elsie. Well, considering you're back for a while from your dad's, maybe you can come to hear one of my lectures. A teacher? One of the best, philosophy professor at NYU. Wow, New York University? I can really come to one of your lectures? Do yourself a favor, Elsie. Bring your iPod. Do you like mysticism? Oh, yes, everything about Socrates. That's logic, dear. It's all right. You can come with your mother. She can explain the difference between the Socrates approach and the Gilgamesh epic. Thanks. Cool. By the way, Mr. Somewhere in the Clouds, Nowhere on the Earth, what is it that I will be teaching? In short, the Gilgamesh epic entails man's inquisition to surmount mortal dissolution. Better? Listen, I had enough with you using me as a classroom example on if my hair is really blonde or is it simply man's subjective perception. In other words, Elsie, subjective versus objective materialistic substantive entities in regards to its fundamental comparison to the analogical similarities between brain waves and cell membranes convinces the inquirer that the two realms of material existence does make up what is real, as opposed to what is perceived, unless a delay in imaginative processes preclude that what is real is unreal based upon former analysis via statistical studies. I think this is what your mother implied. It's close. How's the roast? Too tender? Perfect. Perfectly simple. Good enough for this kitty. So, do you live across from Joy Isley yours? How do you know that? Deduction. You look like the kind of person who would live in a place like this. Really? Thanks. It depends on what? Oh, on who you're living with. Paul and I are not living together, if that is what you are implying. Oh? Oh. My apartment number is 3. Elsie peers deeply into Paul's eyes. Oh, really? Yes, really. What are your hours? Well, I get up at Paul. Don't push it, okay? Push what? You sure know how to spoil the fun. Elsie pinches Paul's cheek. He's so adorably cute. I like that in a man. That's what mothers are for. Don't remind me of what mothers are for. Please. Come on, eat your meal, for I have your favorite dessert. Chocolate mousse? Oh, great. What did I ever do to deserve this? You haven't completed the chore yet. I will kill that person who wrote that into law. Law is a rather stimulating subject. Do you know? Shut up and eat your supper. If it isn't any of my business, it's none of your business. Where did the two of you meet? I was dreading that question. It's okay with me. In college, a couple of years ago, your mother was with your, go on, spit it out. My mother was where with whom? Well, when a wife has, your father and I were attending New York University when we met Paul on a double date. Does that answer your question, dear? Close, but not close enough. How close do you want us? On top of each other? Can I watch? Elsie, hey, I haven't slept with Paul, okay? Not even a kiss? Hey, what is this? I'm your mother, not the other way around. And if you're so concerned, why don't you ask Casanova? Well, no, though. Joyce turns away. No, I haven't, Elsie. Joyce takes a peek. There you go, Mom. I have completed the household task. Joyce and Paul are eye to eye. Good. The dessert is in. All right, I'll get it. Very good, Elsie. You have surprised your dear mother. Miracles do happen. Yes, they could. Joyce crosses into the kitchen. Your mother is a very smart woman. Joyce enters with the dessert. You know that, Elsie? Joyce stands in the kitchen entryway. Elsie and Paul are unaware of Joyce. She has her moments, I suppose. You need to give her a little more time. It's sometimes tough on a woman's feelings to keep a roof and a child. I mean, I understand. I understand, Paul, how you must feel about. Joyce steps forward. Here you go. I bought it at Elder Weiss's bakery. The best. Joyce stares at Paul. Paul wants to touch her, but she sidesteps him. Go ahead, Elsie. You can have the first scoop. Elsie dishes out the mousse onto the plates. Here you go. Like a lady, thank you. And Mom, like a daughter, thank you too. And myself. Elsie gobbles her mousse. Why don't you help Paul clean up the dishes while I make an important phone call, okay, Elsie? Go ahead, take care of your business. I can keep Paul amused. I had a funny feeling you would. Joyce exits. Did anyone ever tell you you look a lot like Cary Grant? Why can't I look like Robert Redford? Why Cary Grant? They make too much a thing over that man, Robert Redford. Whereas Cary Grant, he's too beautiful to be real. You're right. They do make a beautiful thing over that man, Robert Redford. I may be only 8, but when you come down to the bare facts, I wonder what your mother is doing in the bedroom. Probably telling my mother everything is fine. Right. Elsie places a hand on Paul's leg. Why don't you tell me how much I move thee? Paul stands, knocking over the chair. How's that? Elsie stalks Paul. You don't have to be afraid of me, Paul. Remember, it's only an age. Randy must really know what he's talking about. He taught me very well. I was wondering along the lines of whom. I'm getting to you, aren't I? You won. You won this war between the sexes. I promise you. Paul drops to his knees, begging Elsie, please, just please. Joyce enters. Am I interrupting anything? He was proposing. Did you really have to make that phone call? Did you really, Joyce? Did you really? Your father said take good care of yourself. Don't worry, she has everyone under her control. I'm going to really enjoy these 4 weeks, Mother. Oh, between school lectures and listening to lectures. I did, didn't I? Elsie twists Paul's cheek. You're so cute. Joyce clears the table. Your father said, make sure you take your allergy pills on time. All right, I'll be right back. Elsie exits. I don't know. What don't you know, Joyce? You. Paul assists Joyce. You haven't given you a chance. Am I so desperate? You're crazy, do you know that? Are you really asking a crazy person if he is crazy? Why am I standing before a man, if you can call him that, who is absolutely maladjusted? You're the one who asked me to dine with you tonight. Why don't you ask yourself that question? Don't pull Socrates on me. This place has been so dull outside of my tricks that I don't know anymore if I'm doing anything right. I'm so screwed, I just know it. Did you ever find John Trigg? John who? You know, that man who ran out of here the other day. Oh, yeah, he called me the next day and asked me if everything was all right. I said that next time we get together for him not to be such a pissant. Piss what? Oh, you know, someone who was such a bashful son of a bitch. I should have known. But I guess you know all about what we live for. You know something? After meeting you, I don't have the foggiest idea what's going on. I've had too sheltered of a life. I really see that now. I was never prepared to be a man. Somewhere between losing my father at an early age and being raised by an overly protective mother, I might have now somehow woke up from that dream. I'm just not cut out for this way of life. Give me the geniuses of the last century, I am fine. But if I step 1 foot outside their world, I am lost. Me, a philosopher, lost, go figure. I realize you've problems with men in general, no doubt about this. But if you ever find the time, I'd sure appreciate you're not looking the other way. Sorry, your minute is up. Click. As Paul attempts to kiss Joyce, Elsie enters. Damn. What's the matter? Nothing. Something you'll eventually learn all about when you get a little older. Elsie follows Joyce into the kitchen. Oh, boys. Yeah, boys. Paul tidies up the eating area after he sets dirty dishes on the divider counter. I think you forgot these. Thanks. I could help dry them if you like. No problem. I think we can manage it from here on in. 1 second. Paul takes a rag, wiping the table. Joyce? Yes? Nothing. I said I can manage it myself. It's really no problem. I know, Joyce. Unfortunately. Phone rings. Before Paul or Joyce can answer the phone, Elsie dashes to the phone, picks up the receiver. Oh, come on, Joni. Let's go see Hannah and her sisters. I think it is playing down at the mall. Of course the reruns, but at 1/6 the price. I think Alan's such a doll. Oh, who cares? That judge wasn't God, you know. Look, either Alan or Simon. Yes, goodbye, girl. Of course, 1/6. Listen, I'll meet you at the entrance. We'll make up our minds then, okay? I still think Alan's the cutest freckle-faced genius on 2 legs. All right. See you at 7:30. She hangs up the phone. I'll see your mom at 11. Very well. 10. Elsie crosses to the front door. 10:30. 10:15. 10:20. See ya. Elsie exits. Pretty late for a young girl. It's only a number, Paul. I do agree there. Your daughter is quite a girl. I just wish she wasn't as quite. I think she has a crush on me. Why should this bother you? It really doesn't bother. It really doesn't, but when she finds out that I have a crush on... Joyce breaks the stare. I was upstairs the other day storing some furniture away in the attic, and you what? Joyce resumes cleaning. Well, that first day I met you when you had all those exercise machines about. And why are you up there? Why are they up there now in the attic? It's a storage room. You store things away. Yes, I know this, but also, it's been awfully quiet since midweek, especially since your daughter is home. Have you noticed the difference? So it has. And you aren't running in and out of windows. Don't let that bother you. It's only a routine. You can think of that as a game of tag. And you, what is it, Paul? What are you hiding? You're not the same person I knew 1 week ago. People are bound to change. Please, Joyce. I thought you knew by now. Knew what? What should I have known by now? Well, come on, Paul. I know you're a bit green under the collar, but this green? What is so alarming about the truth? She crosses to the couch. She plops down as she states, I'm a part-time prostitute. You're a whore? That's prostitute. I'm not a wench. I run a very respectable business in my apartment. After all this time, I don't care for that man you so happen to have married, but to be married to a whore or a prostitute or whatever is a little tough on the heart, don't you think? You haven't listened to one word I have said, have you? He was a cop on duty. It was his first patrol after he graduated from the police academy, and I was his first bust. The woman in your profession wear protection. Not that I'm an expert in this or anything. I did, but not everything is 100% guaranteed. You need to be a little more careful. Elsie, she's not... Yes, she is. I told you. It wasn't on purpose, Paul. You make it sound like a plan for it to happen. How could you? I could have gotten an abortion. No, you and your daughter appear so good together. I love her. I can't believe this. He paces around the sofa. Don't get me wrong, because like I told you before, I don't care for the way Randy so carelessly handles matters as a father. But but that was 8 years ago. But don't you understand? What should I understand? Paul, you're making me dizzy. Paul stops before her. How can your daughter have a crush on me when I have one on you? What did you just mumble? I said, ever since that one summer evening so many light years ago, I'm fallen madly in love with you. I can't help but not love you. You're the first girl I ever, masturbated over. Do you have identification? Because I need to check your age. I know I'm a late bloomer. Everything's come late in my life. Education too early, life too late. And do you know, I once asked Randy how could he have found such a beautiful girl, and if he knew where I could get one for myself. He didn't know you or she. But now, with knowing all this about Randy, and how could I have been so blind? Oh, you just aren't very sophisticated, that's all. I've been selling messages to my students that I hardly practice myself. There may be hope for you yet, but you, how could you have messed up your life like this? I just can't believe it. What do you mean, mess up my life like this? For your information, Buster, I make a pretty damn good salary off of other people's perversions, and it's not every day you come across a good hooker. And by the way, I'm not a whore. I run a very modest business. I have regular working hours, and I never work on weekends or holidays. And for your information, I can make around $1,000 a week, flat rate, with only 10 hours of hard labor, and as a teacher busting chops for some kid that'll end up knocking on my front door. And one other thing, Buster Brown, I am not some 17-year-old anymore, and I can talk to the canoe driver without throwing up. So don't stand there droopy ears and drooling, telling me I am a no good whore. So why don't you go stick your head back into the mud and send for mommy, asshole? She throws a picture frame at Paul. She crosses into the kitchen. I guess this means you're not going to come to any more of my lectures. Do you know you are 100% bananas, and after all this, you are still asking me out? I can't believe this guy, can you? Well, I haven't really asked you out, but if you prefer a more direct approach. Listen, Paul, between Randy, my business every 4 weeks, and Elsie's crush on you, and the raising of my daughter without any sexual hang-ups, does Elsie know? Do you know you are the most alone person on this earth? She hasn't even asked any sexual questions. I have a feeling she never will. As I was saying, I know what you are implying, but what I was planning to say was, would you care to go out with me tomorrow night? Why are you really asking me out? Why do most men ask women out? To get them into the sack. I bet you're still a virgin. He snickers. I knew it. Oh boy, I have a live one here. I like you a lot, and everyone changes their life, don't they? Sometimes not. If a person has a need, they will. I don't know, Paul. I'm not very good with men in that way. I'm terrible at intimacy. I've always done things on my own. I'm used to that way of life. I'd be lost at sea if I tried it any other way. I've been on my own since 17. We all build our roles in order to protect ourselves from harm, you know. And sometimes they come crashing down, Joyce. I would like to be there to catch you. So what do you think? Am I going to be probably your first ever real live date, or just another could have been etched on your bedpost? Paul tickles Joyce. Stop it, Paul. That tickles. It's supposed to, stupid. Stupid. You calling me stupid? Yes, stupid. She places a hand into his face, eye to eye. Kiss me, stupid. Paul kisses Joyce. Yuck. That's not a kiss. Must I show you everything? Her mother can only do so much. Do you ever eat an ice cream cone? He licks her face. Stop that. Learn to nibble, Paul. Nibbling is good. He nibbles. Lightly now. As if you're licking the rim of a honey bottle. Good. You're getting it. Ouch! What did I just tell you? It's going to be pretty hard to teach you the French kiss, because we haven't got past the Jewish version yet. Now take your arm, and you better not strangle me either, and nibble my throat. At least you have one thing going for you. Good dental hygiene. You've gorgeous eyes. Eyes? What about the rest of my body? He continues to kiss her. I have yet to make my rounds. How do you rate me from 1 to 10? Oh, I'd give you, now be honest. Honesty will cost you 6. Only 6? I could have given you 2. Then why didn't you? I didn't want to be too honest. He tickles her to the floor. I truly am in love with you, Joyce. Truly is the word that'll get you into trouble. It's worth the price, no pun intended. Tell me, Paul, am I crazy? Nothing a good dose of love can't cure. I'm serious, Paul. You scare me, not in a bad way. Still, you scare me. Life is all about risk, compromise, time. It's what we do to make one another. It's what we do to one another that counts. You can have all the crap in the world, that crap will never talk back. You can manipulate objects of desire all you like, anyone can. It's easy, but try to reach out to someone you care about. Now that's difficult, because it can slap you back, you know? You're pretty smart for a virgin. My mother taught one precious gift, humility. This world lacks that quality. I may be green, as you say, but my waters are deep. So are your eyes, eye-to-eye kiss. Wow, do you do that again, Mr. Paul Benjamin? A kiss. Another one of those, I'm going to throw the clock out the window. Laughter, kissing, lights out, end of scene 2. Anyway, I'll read the next scene in a moment. Bye. Play A Fish Without an Anchor. And go right into it. Act 1, Scene 3, setting Joyce and Paul's residences at Rise, night, 1 week later. As the lights fade up, we see Paul enter the hallway via the front door. He is about to go into his residence. He stops. He crosses to Joyce's residence. He is about to knock. On second thought, he enters her residence. He places down his briefcase on a table. He opens the briefcase. He takes out a bundle of roses. He peers around. He notices candlelight. Paul crosses to the bedroom door. No one. He crosses to the kitchen. No one. He crosses to the bathroom door. Paul opens the bathroom door. John Trick enters, dashes out of the residence. Paul crosses out of the residence. Paul crosses, enters his residence. He slams the door. Joyce crosses to Paul's residence. She opens the door. She crosses to Paul. She stands in silence. She grabs a glass, smashing it against the wall. He gets a drink of liquor. He grabs up his briefcase. He opens the briefcase. He crosses to the boarded up window. He tosses the roses out of the other window. She stares at him. She slaps him across the face. Fuck you. Why can't you get it through your thick skull, Joyce, that I have fallen madly in love with you? I told you before, we shouldn't expect too much from me. That's why I didn't make it with you, not because I had a headache. I thought that was the reason. You need to get it through your thick skull, that I do not love you, and now I think I never will. What do you mean now? She paces. Do you know what your problem is? You are too damn stuck on mother. What do you really mean by now? What I do with my life is my goddamn business. It is not any of yours. You do not own me. I am not married to you. We hardly know each other other than you have a mother and I have an ex that are great big common pains in the ass. And if you think, just because I may have paid a little more attention to you in the last few days by smiling and waving hello and goodbye, emphasize on goodbye, does not mean I must run every detail of my life down to you. But if I didn't barge in on you, you may have. This is the second time I lost this, John, because of you in the last 2 weeks. If things get any worse than they are, I'm going to have to either lower my prices or have a clearance sale. Do you know you are a complete jerk? I thought we had an agreement that after my daughter went back to her father, and oh, what a father he is, that you would only see me when I call on you. Whatever happened to that promise? The phone is out of order? Just fine. God, if only I could hate you. I guess you're planning not to answer my question. Do you have any coffee in this unkept hall of yours? She crosses, exits into the offstage kitchen. All I wanted was an answer to a question, Joyce. My whole life has been spent in an educational vacuum. I'm such a sucker for detail. I can't handle anything outside of an experimental lab and a textbook. You've got that right, Mr. Buster Brown. Paul plops onto the sofa. I always read the essays in Playboy magazines, and when my former frat brothers got me to go to those wet t-shirt contests, I couldn't have read between the lines. Joyce enters in the doorway. You can't be serious. My former classmates jumped at the opportunity to research the breakdown of societal mores, watching slide after slide of wonderfully enticing histrionic teenagers getting pregnant, and I only wanted to study in a faraway cubbyhole how chromosomes broke down under a highly magnified microscopic lens. I don't know anymore. The great philosophic professor with a loss of words. I plan every lesson down to a detail. Yet the great lecturer which I am, the true believer in the human spirit, believe in contemplation leads to the good life. And what choice have I made? I'm in love with a prostitute. If my mother could only see me now. The next few lines are spoken as if Joyce and Paul are speaking to each other. No, excuse me. Next few lines are spoken as if Joyce nor Paul are speaking to each other. Maybe she can show me how to use that banana. He needs a friend, not another mother. Or how about talking to the canoe driver? I wonder what that's all about. His mother sure didn't help him. He must feel guilty just glancing at my tits. Let's see, I can disguise my voice over the phone as another man, an older man, and make an appointment to see her tomorrow evening. That's the ticket. He needs me, but he is such a boy. I've no time to raise another man. And what about those boobs? Did you take a look at how they move up and down when she jogs every morning? Jello never looked so good. I'll go over there and tell him how wrong I was to put him down. She crosses to Paul. He peers up at her. If you have an opening tomorrow morning before 10, could I make an appointment? Talking to the canoe driver sounds very tempting. Paul, what are you saying? Well, I thought you could teach me. I think it's about time I use those rubbers I bought in the summer of '69. Just give me a few hours. I'll go to the bank to withdraw a bit of cash because, I bought it in the summer of '99. Just give me a few hours. I'll go to the bank to withdraw a bit of cash because I would hate to think what would happen if my check bounced. Paul? Just think, Joyce, I could be a steady customer. You could start a door-to-door service. I wanted to tell you something, but now I think I'll... She crosses to leave, but he crosses to the door, blocking her way. This is no time to act like a man. Please move, Paul. I'm asking you nicely. You do include a manual in this course, don't you? You're a terrible, ignorant asshole. She opens the door. Go jerk the hell off. She crosses to her residence. What time would be good for you? She turns in her doorway. Go get screwed by somebody else. Maybe you'll have the good fortune to catch a disease. She slams her door. Make it for tomorrow at 8 in the a.m. hours. She exits into the offstage bedroom. Of all the creeps in the world, I'm crazy for you. Go drop dead. I'll be on my best behavior. And take Randy with you. I'm so excited. I think I'll resubscribe to Playboy. I am a fool. Make that hustler. I'll never learn. Paul looks into a mirror as the lights begin to fade out. Here's looking at you, kid. What have I gotten myself into? Tomorrow will be a new beginning. I can do better than this. Move over, Robert Redford. Light out. I'm about to teach you a new card trick. End of scene 3, end of Act 1, intermission. And
play.
I'll put up Act 2. Fish without an anchor. This is Act 2, Scene 1. Setting, Joyce's residence at Rise following day. As the lights fade up, we see Paul dressed as an older man, or a Humphrey Bogart, knocking on Joyce's door. She answers the door. He walks in. He crosses to the exercise bench. He props himself against the bench, showing her one hairy leg. She swooshes the front door closed. She turns to him. She drops her robe. Skimpy gown. Paul nearly loses composure. Joyce, okay, big stuff. What do you have hidden under your trench coat? A trick or a treat? Deep, husky voice. Paul lights a cigarette. He puffs. He coughs, chokes. Call me sugar. Call me Shap, sugar. What's in your briefcase? She caresses his leg. My tools. Sizes? One size fits all. His leg falls, hitting against a metal rail. He aches, but tries to cover it up. Nothing too much for me to handle. I'm like the Nile. Long, wide, and forever in motion. First we talk business, then we get down to basics. Agreed upon? He nods. You want to let me see? Oh yes, from her little red book. You are the one who called last night asking about talking to the canoe driver, correct? Yes, yes, upstream and downstream. Something new? Man was born to create, baby. There are 3 parts. 3 parts? Let's first attempt going downstream before we try upstream. Do you know your phone is off the hook? The telephone adjuster asked me to. He was fixing it. Oh, I really don't know why. I guess it's funny. It is a little funny. I hope whoever it is gets a thrill out of the downstream run. Now, as I was saying, first for $125, I can take you around the corner. Oh, right here will be just fine. It's just a phrase I use. Second part is a fee of $200, which includes, of course, the first part plus trying to find the right room in the elevator. And the last part is for a grand total of $350, which includes the hot oil massage. Are you sure you're a trained masseur? So what will it be? Well, of course, he is sweating so that each time he wipes his forehead, the makeup comes off. Now, come on, hot stuff. Spit it out. What will it be? Around the corner, the elevator, or the massage, or one of the 3? Oh, if I'm going to go downstream, I plan to enjoy the ride. As Paul states the next word, his hand swings around, knocking items off a shelf, right? He is too helpless to help Joyce. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me help you. Joyce peers up from a knelt position. No problem. I think I can handle everything from this vantage point. He stares at himself in the mirror as she unzips his pants. I'll just stand here. Don't mind me. I see you have plenty to do down there. Besides, I don't know where half that stuff really belongs. Anyways, I don't have to go around the corner, right? As she stands. What did I do that was so wrong? I always come through with my part, or don't you think I have it in me? She puts a hand out. $350, right? He takes the money out of a billfold. $600 if you want to travel both ways. I'll be traveling light, I think, okay? Sure enough. Probably don't have it in you. As he flings open his coat. Superman is here to save the day. Meg opens a door. She peeks out, then quietly closes the door. Paul stands in heart-shaped boxers. You are a sharp dresser. Sears catalog? What are you waiting for? Get it over with. I can't stand here all night. I have other important matters to attend to. People are in dire need of my services. Let's go do it in the waterbed. No, right here will do. Go ahead. Don't wait any longer. The meter is running. My, you are a hot one. Sizzler. I like my men sizzling hot. He looks down, then up, gesturing no. Oh, yes, you are. You're on fire. What the hell are you waiting for? Do you mind if I make a living? All right. How could I have forgotten? She kneels. He gives her the money. She sticks the money between her boobs. You have the cutest little kneecaps. What the heck are you on your knees for? Come on, get it over with. I don't have all day. I really don't think there is any other way to do it. He wipes the sweat as well as the mustache off. Is talking to the canoe driver down there? Why? Is there another way of doing it? She's about to stick a hand into his drawers, but he faints. Okay, Joyce, you don't have to. I won't force you. It's me. Who am I fooling? Possibly your mother. She stretches over Paul. She hands the phone receiver to Paul. I think this is for you. But the adjuster. She called right before you knocked. She said you gave her my number in case of an emergency. She was wondering if you forgot her birthday. He takes the phone. Since when was her birthday an emergency? Interphone. Hello? He clears his throat. Yes, I'm he. No, Mother, I'm not a carpenter or a plumber. Yes, I am, Mother, and I'm sure I don't need any of your help. I'm spending your money rather well. Yes, I do have everything under control. And to receiver, you should have trusted me, Mrs. Benjamin. What do you mean? At least you have someone to trust other than your own son. Work is fine. No, I'm not giving my money away. What is Joyce doing asking for my money? What is Joyce doing asking for your money? Well, we are good friends. Her phone bill was high this month, and she didn't want to take a trip to see her own mother, so... No, she's employed and well, he covers the receiver. What owe you? Why didn't you tell her the truth? What, are you crazy? I thought you said to be honest all the time with your feelings. I am. I'm not going to tell her the truth. Then what are you going to tell her? Yes, I'm not ignoring you. Well, she does windows. How does she do windows? She goes door to door, making sure they are able to go up and down after they're installed. She's not going to believe that. That's what popped into my head. How about the truth that you are in love with a hooker? Mother of that hooker. Sure, she makes sure the hooks work as well. No, I am not. Why should I be lying to you? Well, that is a good reason, but I tell you, there is nothing to hide. What company does she work for? No, I'm not shouting in your ear. She's self-employed. She works for a living as a self-service contractor. Yes, she makes a good living. Married? No, well, maybe once. He holds the receiver out. Noises. Shouting is heard. Then, can we please change the subject? You make it sound as if she defected from Russia. Please, Mother, calm down. I know you have ulcers. I know you have ulcers. Reason I said calm down. Is grandfather home? Yes, can I speak? Why can't I? What, unless I start telling the truth to my own mother, I can't speak with my own grandfather? I hope he too dies in peace. I know, Mother, you missed Father. I'm sure he misses you too. He looks down on you, on us. Yes, Mother, I love you. Why wouldn't I? But I am telling you the truth. Oh, and what did Joyce tell you? That I'm a nice gentleman. I should find a nice Jewish girl to settle down with. But I have found a nice girl to settle with. Who you mean, I mean, I? Mother, oh mother, could we take this conversation up another time? No, I'm not torturing you emotionally. I am in love. Happy now. Is she Jewish? How do I know if I am happy? Is she Jewish? Let me ask you, why did you marry Dad? Can you make it a little shorter? Well, there isn't much difference. I know you asked. I don't have an answer on that right now. But if we pray to Hashem, possibly He'll deliver the message forthwith. Again, is she Jewish? What's the difference between the now generation and tradition? This. He hangs up the phone. She is a real pain in the tuchus. I know all she could talk about was how such a nice man like yourself should deserve such a nice girl like me. Did you really have to give her my number? Did you really have to give her my number? She knows about you. She thinks I work as a housemaid and a window adjuster. A window adjuster? Sorry. What exactly did you tell her anyways? That you met me in school years ago, that you're falling in love with me? Why? It's bad enough you have Jesus crosses over the walls a little if I should be informing her you're a prostitute. Listen, after hearing her talk about you in such high fashion, I would hate to be lectured to on that. Get it with it. Thanks, Joyce. No problem. I was afraid she'd have the cops over here in a flash. Nevertheless, Joyce, thanks. If you know my mother like I know my mother, like any Jewish boy knows his mother, I thank you. We all thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Phone rings. She picks it up. It's for you. He takes the phone. Hello? Sorry, Mother. You have the wrong number. He hangs up the phone. She's going to hate you. She may say that, but no. She'll love me even more. How you figure? Reverse psychology. It's Jewish law. The phone rings. Paul picks up the phone. He leaves the phone off the hook. I'm sorry about what happened earlier. I think the last minute gave you away. Your palm is older than your forehead. He looks, he laughs. You could have pulled it off if you didn't crack your voice so many times from chain smoking. I thought you wanted me this way. He stands. But you knew I was I all along? Why didn't you stop me from being me? I like you acting like yourself. She sits on the bench. I feel like I'm really screwed now. I can't have you when I'm being myself, let alone as a John. Paul sits on the sofa. Paul, you need to understand it's my business. I thought about you and I an awful lot. I figure that most boyfriends wouldn't like their girlfriends prostituting. And do you blame them? Hey, I don't want another argument like yesterday, okay? Okay. I enjoy the field I'm in. I guess so, you're practically playing every one. And she laughs. That's funny. No, it's not. Joyce gives Paul a peck on the cheek. A peck on the lips. Then she tidies up. Let me take a vape here real quick. I don't blame you, Paul. Why couldn't you just be normal? Hold a 9-to-5 job, so if your boss makes a pass at you, at least you can walk out on him. It's not that easy, Paul. You're only asking for trouble. It's my life. Don't you realize this? Why don't you go back to college? Funny you should say that, but I do have a good job. What happens when your breasts touch your kneecaps? I'll get a breast job. And your chin falls to where your breasts were. I'll get a facelift. Or how about when your back begins to ache? Now come on, Joyce. Be honest. I'll do it parachuting. Or how about when you get arthritis? What does? He gestures hand job. I'll reduce the prices. Come on, Joyce, you're not being very fair. I put a lot away for Elsie. I have mutual funds. And what about Elsie? What are you planning to tell her? That you use your body to make a few dollars so she can eat? And God knows what she'll turn into. She has turned into enough as it is, don't you think? My daughter is going to a private secondary school next year, and Randy thinks it'll be a waste of money. Well, get him, why don't you? I have to school my daughter with money I make by screwing God knows who, while Randy works for the city government, earning nearly double what I make. I work my bums off because I want the best for my daughter. I know it must be hard for you. I understand. That's why I know I could be good for you. You understand me so well, too. Of course, I could do without some of the sarcasm, but nevertheless, you are good for me. Nothing beats a good reality check. If you go back to college, I'll even put in a good word for you. What was your grade point average in high school? 1.8. So a lie. You need to give yourself a break. Listen, let's try to work out something between the two of us. If it doesn't work, if you get bored with me, well, then we'll know that it was never meant to be. I know you'll really hate me then. I may hate myself, but I can never hate you, Joyce. They kiss. Oh, nice kiss. I've been practicing. He passed his stomach. You were right about honey bottles. She falls into his arms, falling forwards to the floor. I must be crazy to give this a try. My customers are going to hate me. Do you really love me? They're not simply words, because I've heard many a word before, but never had the real thing. So I'm your one true love? Well, I had a big crush on Robert Redford at age 10, but I don't think that really counts. That guy Robert certainly gives a sting. But you can believe me, Joyce. I speak from the heart. I mean every word I say. And do you know how I really know this? She nods. When you were about to take me downstream, I was turned on. Really? What stopped you? He stretches to the phone receiver. I heard it all before. Goodbye, Mother. He hangs up the phone. The phone rings repeatedly. They kiss. Joyce exits to the offstage bedroom. Throwing her clothes off, Paul dashes to the bedroom. And I don't want to go down, and I don't want to go just downstream. You hear me? He slams shut the bedroom door, exits. We hear voices, sensual voices, ad lib. Eventually the doorbell rings. I'll take another vape here. This is a long scene, by the way. I'm at page 66. I'm at page 67 and it goes to page 89, so it's a little long. It must be Elsie. Could you answer it? I will need to get a few things from my place. No prob. So you'll sublet the apartment? Paul enters the parlor. He crosses to the front door. Yes, the lease is still in my name. He answers the door. Hello, Elsie. Elsie enters past Paul. Mother, where are you? Joyce peeks her head through the door. Here I am. I'm cleaning the master bath floor. I look the mess, don't I? Do you know there was a man in a robe, nearly naked, standing in your living room? Didn't you notice who it was? Do all your neighbors visit you in their robes? Oh, that's right. I forgot to tell you on the phone. Joyce crosses before Elsie. How careless of your sweet dear mother to do such a thing to such an innocent-minded young lady. Paul, do you still have that report? Dang it, I left it down at the precinct. How stupid of me. Oh well, when we get the necessary documents, we will inform you without hesitation. Joyce twists Elsie's cheek. Alrighty with you? Just to set the record straight, Elsie, your mother and I decided to live. Go stick it up your rear, Buster Brown. This is between my mother and I. Elsie. Well, Mother, what it is this time? What do you think I was, blind all these years? I know my father divorced you because you were fooling around. Wait 1 minute here, dearie. I don't blame him. I might not love him as much as he thinks I do, but that doesn't make it any better knowing that you are here with this. I didn't cheat behind your father's back. Okay, do you really want to act mature, do you? Okay, I will tell you the truth. Your dear father cheated behind my back with his dispatcher. Your father, miss, is filling your tender heart with horrible lies. He's the liar. He's the one that wants full custody of you because she throws the banana vibrator through the window pane. Meg's voice. Where's the Lord when you need him? Help! The world is coming to an end. It's coming all to a terrible end. Paul. I can explain. Elsie gives him the middle finger. Explain this. Joyce holds her ears as she dashes into offstage bedroom. Stop it, just stop it. I love your mother, Elsie, and I thought you were God. Damn it. He closes the door. You owe your mother an apology. We haven't gotten that far. Don't hold your breath. You aren't leaving. She tries to get to the front door. Don't you think you owe her an apology? Take a good look at my life before you consider who owes whom an apology. If I have to, I will climb out that broken window. Elsie and Paul struggle. I know it must have been difficult for you during all these years, going back and forth every 4 weeks. Must have been very hard for you. I understand this. But you must try to understand something here. I am different than your father. You still have that thing dangling between your legs. You're no different than he is. Your mother is right. You're right about what? I want to leave. You need a better father than the one you have. I don't like you. Why? 'Cause I speak the truth. Just leave my mother alone. And what if I do? As Elsie manages to fling open the front door, I might not leave. Why don't you close the door first so we can talk like two mature adults? I don't know how I could have ever liked you. I'm a nice, intelligent, good-looking guy who has a flexible disposition toward life. Maybe that's why there aren't any nice guys left in this world. Elsie walks out the front door. Paul crosses into the hall as Elsie exits out of the hallway door with a slam. Meg cracks her door. Are you interrogating her now? Something like that. Good. Keep up the good work, okay? Righto. Paul salutes Meg as he crosses to the front door. No, excuse me. Paul salutes Meg as he closes the front door. Joyce? He opens the bedroom door. Joyce enters, crosses into Paul's arms. Are you okay? I guess. Where do you suppose she went? Maybe around the corner? She laughs through her tears. 1 second. Probably went back to Randy. It's not even her week to be here. Joyce spots. Her luggage is still here. She'll be back shortly. She has a lot of things to work out. She's really just a fragile little girl inside, even though she pretends to wear it otherwise. I think I might have raised her a little headstrong. Just a little. Come on. Paul escorts her into the bedroom. We both need a rest. Paul closes the door behind him and Joyce. We hear a knock on the front door. Joyce and Paul, hunched behind Joyce, enter tiptoe to the front door. Who do you think it is? Elsie has a key, so Elsie keys open the front door. Randy Robbins stands behind Elsie. Good morning, Randy. Paul nervously trips, stumbles, and falls over the coffee table. Ah, shucks, why couldn't I have worn the slip instead? Why don't you both come in? We were just wondering about you. Oh, is that the Randy? Oh, Randy. Deeper voice. Hello. Paul hides his face as Randy escorts Elsie into the parlor. Randy fingers the furniture for dirt. Randy spots Paul. Is that the Paul I knew back in NYU? Yep, that's the one. I thought I had known you better. Randy plops into a chair. Please get your feet off the table. why don't you take your finely rounded tush into the kitchen and boil a fresh pot of coffee while I get reacquainted with the gentleman lying on your living room floor. Okay, Toots? Hesitantly, Joyce crosses into the kitchen. Paul manages to stand. Paul leans against a shelf, on and off, propping himself. Elsie closes the front door, then stands behind Randy. So, Randy, it's been a while, hasn't it? I see you have changed a bit since then. Oh, this. It's just one of those things. I woke up this morning and I told you, Daddy, they were living together. I can handle it from here, sweetheart. I don't think the courts would appreciate such conduct going on before an 8-year-old child. What you think, Paul? 8 is only a number, but really, I don't know. Why don't you just make yourself at home? I'll go get dressed, okay? No, why don't you just stand there? So tell me, Paul, what have you been up to lately? Well, I'm teaching at NYU, now in the liberal arts department, philosophy, correct? Yeah, how did you know? I didn't think so. And I moved here a little over 2 weeks ago, and, well, what else can I say? Here I am. Yes, there you are. Hey, Joycey, what's keeping the coffee? The coffee doesn't pop itself, you know? Just get a move on, okay? Joyce stands in the kitchen doorway. Can I at least get into something other than this? Yeah, go ahead. As Joyce crosses to the bedroom, Randy slaps her on the rear end. Toots. She is about to say something, but exits into the bedroom, closing the door. Hey, that's not fair letting her. When I asked you, I'll tell you what's fair and not fair around here. You hear? That's telling him, Dad. Paul sits on the couch. The robe gets caught. He rips it to unhook it. I don't know exactly what has been going on here lately, and for some strange reason, I don't really want to know. But what I do see, I don't approve of, especially if my daughter is going to be staying here. She has told me that you are living together. In so many words. One will do. In that case, yes. And I don't like it. What do you expect for my daughter to sleep? In the tub? Paul laughs and quiets down. So what's the bit? The bit? What the hell is going on here? Oh, you mean her and I impersonating Mae West and W.C. Fields? I didn't think I did a very good job either. Randy stands. Elsie backs away. I have an 8-year-old that shouldn't be subject to such acts of misconduct. I live by a code of conduct. I prefer order to chaos. I'm a problem solver, so when I come across such hijinks between the two of you, you just don't want to know the kind of reaction you may get. To tell the truth, Randy, from what I have gathered, I didn't think you noticed Elsie, let alone cared. What was that? Paul's about to say something, but Joyce crosses into the kitchen. Nothing you would understand. Randy moves closer to Paul. What the hell are you trying to pull here? You sleep around with that no-good tramp in there, and now you're playing games with my daughter's mind? What is going on here? Joyce crosses to Randy. Are you going to tell me, or will I have to beat it? Joyce pushes Randy aside. This is between him and I. We are no longer husband and wife. As for Elsie, she still owes me an apology from an earlier infantile episode. I'm going to get full custody of her if it kills me, just to get even with me. She doesn't need a mother screwing every Tom, Dick, and Harry, if you know what I mean. And I suppose you'll give Elsie a good home? I can give her a home which doesn't have men walking in ladies' robes, and God only knows what else is going on around here. Could you squeeze a daughter in with all of your other blonde-haired cuties? Go to hell. Randy walks past Joyce. Randy takes Elsie's hand. I'll see you in court. Did you forget to tell your daughter the truth, or did it just slip your mind this time? Randy turns to Joyce. And what is this truth? Why we got a divorce in the first place. If she can't tell by what happened this morning, then I don't know what. How about the dispatcher? Do we need to rehash this all over again? Dad, did you? Did I what, sweetheart? Have an affair? Do you really want to know, Elsie? Okay, your mother over there is a whore who sleeps around with men, and I couldn't stand being married to a tramp that was... God damn it. Is that right, Mother? You get paid to sleep with men? I did that. Tell her the truth, Joyce. I can't do that. I can't. Then I will if you don't. Come over here, Elsie. Joyce sits. Elsie sits on Joyce's lap. Many, many years ago, your father was going to book me for prostituting. Not whoring, but prostituting. Instead, I talked him out of it. And your father and I had sex, and Elsie points to herself. Me? Joyce nods. Yes, Elsie. Elsie breaks from Joyce. Elsie backs to the middle of the room. I never meant to hurt you, darling. I wanted to tell you under better circumstances than, see, sweetheart, why I had to get the divorce from your mother. I hate you. Elsie kicks Randy. I hate you both. Elsie exits, dashes into the bedroom. Hey, what are you looking at, ma'am? Joyce exits, crosses into the bedroom. And to think we were best friends in college. Don't even try to defend yourself. There are no excuses for your conduct. Why didn't you tell me that you had a daughter? No wonder why you didn't live on campus. Now you know. I don't need her, but then again, I hate Joyce having her. What does Elsie think, or don't she matter? She's too young to make her own decisions. Little do you know your own daughter. So you think you love Joyce. She means the world to me. Just give her time. She'll screw you two in more ways than one. She's unable to commit. The moment she found out I cheated on her, she jumped into the sack with my best friend and charged him. Go figure. Don't you see, Paul? She has a problem with men. She doesn't like us. She doesn't trust us. We're the other kind. We have a cock between the legs that cries out for more and more. We're the predators. Don't you see, Polly? Her father raped her when she was 15, and ever since she's been out on her own, she's been trying to get back at him by screwing us. In case you're standing there wondering, forensic psychology figure there is no cure to such a mindset. So if you think for one moment that you are any special, that you are any of the bit wiser than some psychologist or me that thought all this shit up, you have another thing coming. She only knows one thing, to fuck us, and we foot the bill. And anything in between is bullshit. Put that in your Buddha's belly and smoke it. Well, there's one thing neither you nor that psychologist figured on, and what possibly could be your point. And oh, by the way, does she still use the banana? That was worth some good laughs. You just don't get it. All your education experience, and you still don't get it, do you? Get what, Polly? Paul punches Randy in the gut. That, as Randy falls to the floor on all fours, Paul manages to get the gun out of Randy's holster. This is not good, Paul. I could have you arrested for doing that. You'll get it back after you leave. I never considered you the physical type. You surprise me. People change, don't they? Yes, I guess they have. I'm a pacifist, but somehow you bring the man out in me. See, Randy, what separates me from you is that I am better than you. And if you set foot in her apartment again, I'm going to handcuff you to the exercise equipment and scream rape. Understand? And then we'll see how far you get along in your career. Because there's one thing I dislike more than an asshole, a cheap asshole. So I will now ask for you to leave. If you must, you may crawl out of the apartment on all fours like the dog you truly are. Randy crawls to the front door. Guess this means no possibility of a future barbecue. I may be tempted to brush poison over your ribs. Randy opens the door from all fours. Well, I guess we should consider this a done deal. You know something, Randy? I'm more a man than you'll ever be. Paul kicks Randy's rear end out the door. When I have my gun back, you can pick it up on your next shift. Paul slams the door. Asshole. Paul blows on the end of the gun barrel as Randy exits the complex. I'm a better man than he is. Hey, Joyce, I'll be right back. I need to get a few more of my things. Take your time. Vapor. Paul exits. Paul enters his apartment. As Paul gathers assorted items improvised, a phone rings in Joyce's residence. Eventually, Joyce enters the parlor. Joyce comes to Paul's residence. She enters standing still. That was a customer. I thought you said you changed the number. I did after I met him on the bus 3 nights ago. I just couldn't pass up his $1,500 proposal. He even wanted to pay me in advance, for he heard I was the best hooker in town. How could you? We were doing so well together. I keep telling myself that, but He's only 5 miles away from here. What, he's coming over here now? What do you want me to do, watch? Is this the way this pervert gets off? I need you to watch Elsie. While you're across the way, screwing some man you met on a late-night bus? Are you out of your mind? You can't be this desperate, Joyce. You can't be this screwed up. You can't throw away everything we worked for the past 2 weeks. I know I'm not good enough and better. Is that it? No, Paul, you're great. You're so very sensitive. I'll be less very. No, Paul, it's just what? I can't live a life as if I were two people. What do you mean, two people? Come on. Before our 5 minutes are up. I taught you well. I'm not being funny. You're talking about my whole life, damn it. Please, Paul, then tell me what I am doing wrong. It's not you, it's me. Okay, it's me. It's always been me. I've always been like this. Why do you think I get myself into situations like this? I'm listening. Why couldn't he have taken me once into his arms and told me he loved me without getting ugly? What are you talking about? All he ever did was preach on how things should be, what I must do to make him look good. It was always about him, never about me. What right did my father have to preach to me, when he was the son of a bitch who crawled over me and stuck his cock up my ass, the filthy fucking pig? He had the problem, not me. He never loved me. He never knew what love was. And where was my mother? She always sided with him. He was perfect. He was a good man. He takes care of me, of you, of all of us. He could never do any wrong. Why would your father harm you? What kind of a man do you think he is? I hate them both. I hope the both of them are rotting in the pits of hell right now. Why, Paul, why? What did I ever do to deserve such a life as this? Paul holds Joyce. Maybe I am a fool to believe this thing between us will work. I don't know. The only thing I do know is whenever I'm away from you, there's a little voice inside me saying, I need her. I want to hold her. I must tell her everything will be okay. We'll be fine. It's just you and me, babe. He's going to be here any minute now. Have you ever loved me, Joyce? She gestures. Phone click. I guess you'll need help with the exercise equipment. He's too classy. He prefers a romantic candlelight dinner. He's a widower. I wish I were. Okay, send Elsie over. We'll play pin the tail on to Paul's sorry ass. Joyce kisses him on the cheek. Thanks, Paul. She crosses through the door. You're the best. Just want to know that. I just want you to know that. Joyce enters her parlor, then exits into the bedroom. I'm the best sucker, you mean? Paul peers around. What kind of man am I? Better, what kind of a fool am I? Elsie enters the parlor. Elsie crosses out of Joyce's residence. As Elsie knocks on Paul's door, the lights fade out in Joyce's residence. As Paul enters the door, I guess it's just you and me, kid. As Paul closes the door, the lights fade out in the hallway. Then Elsie crosses to a chair. She sits. She picks up a magazine. She flips through the magazine. Paul stands still. Do it, babe. So what did you and your mom talk about, if it's any of my business? I thought the two of you were living together. Soon I'll be forced into the cold, damp streets for this apartment is sublet. Another argument already? It could have been a divorce. Too much sex? No, too much instruction. She laughs. Hey, don't laugh. Look at yourself. You're not some been-through-it-all, run-of-the-mill woman of the night yourself, you know. How do you know? I know, trust me. You'll probably end up like me, an exceptionally late bloomer. You dink? I dink. So are you going to go to bed with my mother anymore? First, it's none of your business. Second, I don't even have the key to the front door, let alone a crowbar to the bedroom. Funny, you know that? No, I don't know that. Come on, I am being serious. I'm serious, Elsie. It's not funny. None of it is. It's just a big mess, and I'm very sorry about what happened earlier. Don't worry about that. It's just one more feather in the cap. You grow up way too fast. Not even a hint of resentment? She nods. Amazing. The quick picker-upper. Not even angry with your mother? It wasn't really her fault. She could have aborted me. Then where would I be? No comment. And your father? I'd rather not talk about him with you. Why not? I won't tell him. I'm good with a secret. Ask my mother. Sure? Very sure, beyond sure, positive. Okay, as long as you're not lying to me. He nods. He gestures the zip of the lips. I can forgive my father for what happened in my past, but I can't for what he did to the both of us. Who were the both of us, my mother and I. He had no right to have an affair. I deserved a dad. He just had no right. You're right about that. I was going to ask my mother, but I didn't want to start another argument, so I think I'll just ask you. Is my mother a whore? Maybe you should ask her, not me. Please. I'll even share my next moose with you. Paul crosses to Elsie. He lifts her up. He sits. Then he manages to get her to sit on his lap. Better, much better. Well, I think your mother first would say, first, I'm not a whore, I'm a prostitute. And second, I think she would say, second, it is not an easy thing for me to do, but I don't know any other way to make a living and put you through the best schools money can buy. Does she like doing that for a living? I don't think she does. But something in her makes her continue to do it without wanting to do it. Understand? Not really. It's like as if you ate large amounts of chocolate mousse to the point that you get fatter and fatter and fatter till you grow so large that you're about to burst, but the taste is so good that you are tempted to taste another spoonful, and you do even though you know you shouldn't because, pow, it's over. And then what do you have? Nothing and no one. Your mother needs me, yet the moment she has me, she has no idea how to keep me. Do you love her? Yes, Elsie, I love her very much, but you can't have her. No, I can't. Not the way I picture her and I as. Unfortunately, I'm nothing more to her than a fantasy. You know what they say? What do they say? If you close your eyes really tight and wish really hard, your dreams will come true. Really? She nods. Maybe we should give it a try. Maybe we should give it a try. We have nothing to lose. You know whom I'm going to wish for? He nods. Robert Redford. Don't you think it's a little too old? Don't you think he's a little too old for you? I mean, isn't he like in his 70s? I like older men. She points to her head. I need stimulation, understand? Never mind. Okay, you have Redford and I have Joyce, my mom. Yep. And what do we do now? You close your eyes really, really tight. He closes his eyes and he opens one eye. Oh, cheating, little missy. She closes her eyes. And then we wish. Lights fade out. End of scene 1. So, I will do the last, I think I'm doing, yeah. This is the last scene, so, and this goes to page 90 to 117. So I'll finish that up in a moment. The play and Fish Without an Anchor. A good one by. And this is Act 2, Scene 2. Setting Joyce's residence at Rye's night 1 week later. As the lights fade up, we see Paul before Joyce's residence. He is about to knock. We hear screams. Light dims up. We see shadows in Joyce's residence. The raper stands above Joyce, hitting her with a club. Screams. Paul knocks, screams. He bangs on the door. Light fades up some more. We see Joyce run to the front door. The raper runs after Joyce, pulling Joyce by the hair as Joyce tries to unlock the door. Paul runs up against the door, into the residence, straight through the parlor, smack into the bar, over the bar, landing face down on the floor. Lights fully up. Paul manages to jump on the raper, pulling the raper off Joyce. The raper punches Paul up against the wall. Paul comes to. Paul jumps on the raper's back as the raper grabs Joyce by the throat, wrestling her to the floor. The raper takes one hand, grabs a vibrator in the shape of a baseball bat, smashes it over Paul's head, knocking Paul out cold. Joyce kicks the raper aside, grabs a metal chair, cracking it over the raper's back, knocking him out cold. Joyce kneels beside Paul. She caresses his face, kisses his head. Eventually, Paul wakens. He stares up at her, then nods out. Joyce slaps Paul awake. Let me take a vape real quick. Paul, who knocked him out? You or I? You did, Paul. You're my hero. You must have taken a beating from the no-good punk. He raped me once earlier in his apartment and dragged me over here by knife point and raped me again. Oh, Joyce, oh my God. I should have known what he said. He had another $700 up in his flat. The first clue. Never follow a John into an unknown location to have sex. Don't worry about it, okay? What have I done? I missed you, Paul. Do you know that? I was praying to Jesus to tell your non-Jesus that you would come in and save me. I prayed to him for him to forgive me of all my trespasses, that I didn't know if he heard me, considering you're Jewish. I thought maybe your God and my God were different, only to find out that, Poise kisses Joyce. You're forgiven, Joyce. We share that burden, not you. I don't quite understand, but it don't matter. You saved me from harm's way is all that matters. Police officer enters the hallway. He walks about in the hallway. Meg's door cracks, with the police officer's back to the audience. Meg's voice. Psst. Police officer with back to the audience confronts Meg. I called, Your Honor. Go ahead in there and put the handcuffs on that woman. Send her back to where she belongs, Siberia. You should have been here sooner. I knew the CIA would get her yet. I just knew it. They have their ways. Should lock her away for good with the rest of them. Every single one of those jumping jack maniacs, in and out of windows, 4 in the morning. I can't tell you the rubbish I put up with throughout the years. Now you go in there and chain her to a post. Go on. Police officer crosses to Joyce's residence. I'll take care of it from here, lady. The door closes to Meg's residence. Okay, let's see what we have. Police officer stands in the doorway to Joyce's residence. Excuse me, you had this call from a lady. There was a disturbance in A1? Yeah, over here, over there. Police officer crosses into the parlor. That man is a rapist. He should have died in his own blood. Looks like he's almost there. Is this your apartment, madam? Yes, it is, sir. And how did he get in? He was my date. Police officer takes out a pad, writes, Have you dated this gentleman before? No. And you say he raped you? She nods. And what do you suppose brought this on? Paul, it's up to you, Joyce. Remember that I'm here for you no matter the decision. I love you, Joyce. Police officer clears his throat. You were going to say something, madam? He wasn't really my boyfriend. He was my trick, I presume. You don't know? You do know? I will have to take you in for further questioning. I know my daughter is over at her girlfriend's. Could I call her from the station? That will be fine, madam. Can I use the telephone? Yes, it's over there on the wall. Police officer exits into the kitchen to Paul. It'll be fine. It's not the first time. It will be your last. It may be, Paul. I don't want to promise you anything. Remember one thing. We need an ambulance at I love you. I know you do. I know you do. Police officer enters the parlor. The ambulance will be here shortly. I still need to ask you further questions, okay, madam? Can I get a few of my things? Yes, you may. And sir, I presume this is not at your apartment? Paul nods. Well, if you can, it would be best if she comes with me alone. I understand. Paul stands with help from Joyce. I'll be in the sublet. Okay. Paul kisses Joyce on the cheek. Paul crosses to his residence. As Paul enters his residence, the lights fade up in Paul's residence as the lights fade out in Joyce's residence. Paul closes the door. Paul paces back and forth. Eventually, lights dim up. We see Joyce entering the hallway. She is about to go to her residence, but instead she crosses before Paul's residence. She knocks. Paul answers. Paul takes Joyce into his arms. Take a vape. They won't even let me call an attorney because after the call to Elsie, that was my first and last call. I had to listen to those bastards question me as if I asked to be raped twice. Do you know that pig is out walking the streets because there was not enough evidence to hold him? She paces. I couldn't speak because I didn't know what to say or what not to say. And I couldn't. Not with them staring at me as if I were some fell thing. Damn them. Just because of one miserable low-down mother, they make it look like my business is sick. We keep more perverts out of jail. Well, we do. I know you do, Joyce. And I keep more rapists from raping others by getting them to act their fantasies in a controlled setting. I can't help if one sick son of a bitch is too stupid to realize that prostitutes are on this planet for him. Wait, blew that line. I can't help if one sick son of a bitch is too stupid to realize that prostitutes are on this planet for him. Not, I understand. You understand? I understand there is a legitimate reason for a brothel, and I don't mean that in any derogatory manner. You mean that. You serve a social function. Who knows how many more rapists I would have to beat up if it weren't for you and your profession. She smiles through her tears. I had felt you had turned your back on me. That's what I told Elsie. It's almost like I wanted to be raped because I was mad at myself. I mean, I didn't want to be raped, but I understand, Joyce. You know, while they were questioning me, all I could really think about was us. But how we were for a little while there, how we first met. Oh, I thought you were a cop. Oh, that. You know John Trick? Yeah, John Trick. Oh, Paul. What, Joyce? What is it? Oh, God, Paul. She bends over. Oh, God, Paul. He comforts her. I understand. It was awful. Oh, my God. I mean, our God. Paul. It's all right, Joyce. I'm here. You pull through. You will, for I have faith in you. You do. I always have. You just never noticed. He kisses her. I bet you think I've been an ass for ignoring you all this time. You're the best ass I've had. Joyce and Paul chuckle. Kiss. Paul? Yes? He rubs her back. Remember you asked me once if I could ever love you? Yes? All that time I tried to convince myself otherwise. I understand. You're quite an understanding man. Yes, I understand. Light chuckle. Kiss. By the way, last week before this terrible mess, I applied as a half-time student at NYU for next summer. I cringe at the thought of the major. Just thinking. Elementary special education as an IEP facilitator. I think 6 years will be enough, right? He nods. That's if I can pass my GED exam. Maybe we can see each other a little more. You can tutor me. Paul, aren't you happy for me? No appointment necessary. Oh, you. She tickles him until he falls to the floor. Joyce falls to his side. Paul and Joyce are staring up at the ceiling. I have another surprise for you. And to think it's not even my birthday. I'm not sure how you are going to take this, for we aren't married, and with Elsie not even in my full custody yet. Oh, crap. The worst it could be is that you're pregnant. I'm pregnant. Paul jumps up. He grabs a liquor bottle. He unscrews the cap. He drinks. He spits it out. He turns to her. He paces. I knew you'd get all excited. Who, me excited? No, you must be thinking of another man. Are you sure you're pregnant? She nods. Go to a doctor? She nods. Why did you go to a doctor? That's what doctors are for. It's their business to surprise their customers. Next time, please shop somewhere else. I had all the exams, one right after the other. I, too, at first thought it was a fluke. I almost was hoping it was. Well, you know how you are. Well, you know how you are with money. Oh, no, the old money trick. Here I am with a girl my mother wouldn't even approve of if she were bribed, and now she had to get herself pregnant. Well, maybe I can send her back and get a refund. But remember, Hotshot, it took 2 to tango. Me do the tango, you call my performance the tango? It was more like a square dance. Your performance, ought I rate this too? I just don't want to become another John. You're worse. You're a pimp. She stands. A pimp? That's the way you're making me feel. Do you think I would still be standing here concerned what's growing inside you if I were a pimp? You're not concerned. You're thinking what this is going to cost you. It's not the money. You're full of shit, Paul. That's what you are, full of it. Look who's yelling about being full of it. She throws her shoe at Paul, nearly hitting him. Thank goodness I was a good shortstop in high school. You're an asshole. No more or worse than that. You're an arrogant, money-making Jew. I knew it was coming. I thought you were holding something out on me. I'm now deduced to a Rothschild. You should be so lucky. You ungrateful son of a bitch. She throws her other shoe, nearly hitting him. Were you related to Jesus? Fuck you, you pig-headed, arrogant Jew. My mother always said, time and time again, don't fall in love with someone not of your faith, for they'll use it against you when the going gets tough. Jew bastard, Jew bastard, Jew bastard, don't get so overly unbearable. Now Miss Goody Two-Shoes. You stand there with a child who will most likely be placed in an emotional incubator to recuperate from innate learning abnormalities because of a mother who thinks she knows what the world needs now. You're worse than a Jewish bastard. You're a fucking Jaime pig. She looks around for another object to throw at Paul. Listen, you promised me you would never get pregnant outside of marriage. You know how I feel about things. Well, don't you? Joyce throws a slipper at Paul, nearly hitting him. Of course I do, Paul, but I thought I would tell you. You may have thought I was getting fat from eating too much chocolate mousse. I'd rather have a big fat ox sitting around than a pregnant one. You are such an arrogant, insensitive Jew. She looks around for another object to throw at him. There you go again. Why is it every time you say something derogatory about me being Jewish, I can't help but hear a bird chirp into my ear? I told you so. I warned you so. I thought you loved me for me. She finds the other slipper. I do love you. I just don't love what's growing inside you. She throws the slipper at him, nearly hitting him. I should try out for the Yankees. It was going to happen sooner or later. Well, why couldn't it have happened long after this argument? Because I needed more from you than a verbal promise. Oh, just great. Just great. Sealed with a baby's kiss. I just needed something from you to prove you really do care for me, that I wasn't just another pincushion, some fly-by-the-night fling. I thought you learned from the other fly-by-the-night flung. You know, that's different, a lot different. This is what our love is based on some damn past I'm not even a part of. See, you don't love me. I do, but I shouldn't have to prove it to you. You can't manipulate me like one of your business opportunities. Soon you will bring another child into a situation that has no business being in it. It's not fair, Joyce. It's just not fucking fair. I guess you're believing me, too. Damn you, Joyce. I love you. You can't do this to people. I'm not a damn trick that you can charge fees and time limits to. Go ahead and leave. It's nothing new. My father left my mother. I left home. It's nothing new. You can be so damn pathetic sometimes. I love you, Joyce. Doesn't that mean anything to you? Me. I love you, not them, but me. I'm not your father. I'm not Randy. I'm not anyone from your past. I'm me, Paul Benjamin, the sucker. The hopeless, helpless sucker of the Goyish people. Now I know how Jesus felt. Damn. He sits. I'll make the decision for you. Leave and be sure to take your flock with you. What am I going to say now to my mother? That I got you pregnant, and by the way, she isn't Jewish, and also for good luck, she's a whore, and I left her. She slaps him. That's right, Joyce. Whore. She spits in his face. Fuck you. We did that, and we see what that got us. So why don't you just leave? I know you're hysterical, Chicksa, but for your information, this is my apartment, or at least it is until next week. No, leave me, for good. I can't. And why not? You're pregnant with my child. I can't leave you. It's a part of you. Possibly after it's born, then I will, though I doubt that too. I have an IQ of 127, and I am at a loss for words. I think I can manage on my own. That's why you are so damn sad, Joyce, because you think living by yourself is so damn easy. It's really no problem. Oh, yes, it is a problem. I know you like a damn exam. You're not going to stand there and tell me lies. I'm not Randy, nor am I Elsie. I see right through you. You don't stand a chance. Someday you'll leave me, be it in 8 months or 18 years, but you'll leave me. It's guaranteed. I don't care what you say, but I do care about what you'll do. You need to trust me. You never really did you? It's been a long time. It's been a long while since I could trust a man. In fact, I don't think I ever did trust. Our love ought to be based on trust, not fear. Please don't lecture me. Save it for class Monday. You need to fear God, not me. What did I just say? And you need to trust your feelings. This is your main fault, Joyce. Oh, I have other problems like little ones, I suppose. Please, I'm trying to figure out our problem here. Well, when you're through psychoanalyzing me, make sure you tell me when the hour is up, for I sure don't want to be billed for any overtime. Don't be such a sarcastic ass. It will only make our problem worse. And by the way, Dr. Benjamin, what is the bill for today's appointment? You can be such a heartless bitch sometimes. Oh, so that's my classification, eh? A bitch? Just please shush it up, please. Joycey wants a cracker, Polly. Give Joycey a cracker, Polly. She tickles him. Please, Polly, I want a cracker. Joycey wants a cracker. He throws her off. It's not funny, Joyce. Have faith in yourself, Doctor. Have faith. You're really a lonely little girl, aren't you? Are you implying that I am a lost, wandering Jew in the desert? Don't push it, Joyce. Most apartments have more than windows to leave through. Is that a hint? You're a sick girl, Joyce. Very sick. Should I make another appointment? She crosses to the bar. All the labels are in Hebrew. She gets a bottle. You think of me as chopped liver, eh? She swigs. He crosses to her. She holds the bottle out to him. Want a swig of whatever this shit is? He takes the bottle, slamming the bottle down onto the counter. I can't stand you anymore. Like what, Polly? He grabs the glass from her, throwing it through the window pane. Oh, there goes another window. Is this like having salt thrown over your left, or is it your right shoulder? What am I going to do with you, let alone this kid you're pregnant with? I think the market price for babies is high this month. We might be able to get a good bargain. He just about slaps her. Go ahead, Paul. Go ahead, I deserve it. He walks past her, almost shoving her aside. He exits into an offstage bedroom. We hear hangers coming off a rod. She remains still. Take a vape. You have gone too far, Joyce. I know I have, Paul. I know I have. You never did care for me. Some form of an experiment, a project of yours. I got to sleep with a beautiful girl of my dreams, but like the rat she is, she ate through the cheese quicker than I could replace it. Whatever the hell that's supposed to mean, I really don't care anymore. But I'll tell you something that I hate to see what that child turns into. I just hope when it is of age, he identifies himself other than by the name of John Trick, so nothing too kinky goes on, if you get my drift. Of course, he'll be old and probably senile, so again, Joyce gets away with bloody murders, so to speak. I didn't want it to get like this. He sticks a middle finger at her from around the wall, then peeks out. But you did, didn't you? You hate me, don't you? He crosses to the off-stage bathroom. I don't want to. He exits into the bathroom, but I may have to. Where are you going to stay? Well, I could try my mother's, but I'd have too much explaining to do, so I think I'll find another hole in the ground. I'm sorry for everything. No, you're not. Just admit it, Joyce, at least for once. Try to be honest with yourself. Forget me. Even Elsie and that thing growing inside you. Admit it to yourself. The least you can ask of yourself. He crosses to the bedroom. What should I tell Elsie? She really likes you, you know. Why did you forget about Elsie? She's fine on her own. She's one thing that's one thing she has on you. She's human. She attempts to fix another drink. Randy is going to finally have his day in court. Paul crosses into the parlor with a suitcase. I'll be sure to drop him a thank you card. He crosses into the kitchen. He hates me. That makes the three of us, me, you, and Randy, the sensation. He crosses into the parlor. He crosses to the bar. I need one for the road. He makes a drink. No, let me, please. She makes his drink. I was just wondering, if you were to give this person growing inside me a name, what would it be? I mean, you may not be here when I have call it Buddha. He gulps a shot of liquor as he crosses to the front door. Why Buddha? He's going to want a lot of questions answered. Then I'll have an abortion. He turns to her. That's one thing I forbid you from doing. You'll have no father. I'll have no life if you go through with it. It's just the best thing to do. Unless I drop it off at the nearest anti-abortionist Republican stoop. Eye to eye. Eventually. Joyce? If you can only reason with me, you don't have to go through all these twisted emotions. I'm not going to have another screwed-up kid. You did a very good job with Elsie. You really did. She hated me for a while there. Oh, we all have room to grow. If you leave me, I'm going through with the abortion. You're not saying this just for me to stay, are you? Joyce says, sincere. No. He crosses to her. He places the luggage down. He stands behind her. We've said some really terrible things to each other tonight, didn't we? I figure the score is 9-9. There's no winning point in all this, you know? And you don't have to do this to yourself, you know? Maybe I want to. Who for? Me? Don't you remember I once said I loved you? Promises were meant to be broken. They were also meant to be given. He touches her. Elsie was planning to come over with her girlfriend Joni tomorrow. Maybe we could all go to the park to watch the Little League play. I think Elsie's attentions recently turned to left field. Joyce? She crosses her fingers. I'm not planning to go anywhere. She turns to him. She hugs him. Don't ever leave me. This is I'm going to cry here, so this is a really nice little piece here. I'll try to do this without tearing up. Don't ever leave me. I love you, Paul. I really love you. I promise, Joyce. This you can rely on. I promise. Up at him. I love you. Stop myself anyway. Maybe I should answer it. Either it's my mother or it's a John, still ringing. I didn't want to blow it with my last John, so I gave him your number. You didn't. She nods. You did. She picks up the phone receiver. I think this is for you. He takes the phone. There isn't anyone here taking phone calls by that name. No, she isn't making any more appointments. And no, I'm not one of her customers. I told you already, there is no one by that name that lives here. Yes, no Joyce Robbins. And no Joyce whatever lives here too. No Joyce whatever lives here? She takes the phone. Listen, you. The next time you call, it's going to cost you your life. You hear me? And by the way, what did you mean by Joyce whatever? Paul makes a pig face. Oh, is that right? Well, park you two. She hangs up. The phone receiver falls. She takes the phone receiver, throwing the phone receiver across the room. Please, not another window. Phone receiver hits the wall. Thank goodness for small favors. Goddamn 75 an hour plumber. He never did clean my pipes right, bastard. Joyce. Sorry, Paul, as you can tell, I'm fuming. What? Will you marry me? She turns to Paul. Is that a proposal? Who the hell else is in this room? She points to herself. Yep, you. Can I shout from the treetops? From the hilltops, too. He grabs the phone cord. He uses the cord as a lasso. Why don't you get up on my back and we'll go for a ride in the old countryside? Oh my, aren't you the strong one? She hops up onto his back. He snaps the cord. First, we need to stop off at the Full Moon Biker Saloon. Aren't you such the romantic? Hold on, mademoiselle. Okie dokie. I'm holding on to whatever you's got. Paul flings open the front door. He backs up to Meg's front door with hoarse sounds. He kicks the door with his heel. We'll take a round of drinks. Is that you, Mr. Benjamin? Paul is John Wayne. I only wanted to let you know we are planning to be married under the full moon of tomorrow's eve, and that I am giving you a personal invitation. Howdy doody, Mrs. Thelman. But isn't she a spy? Spy she is, but John Wayne I am. He snaps the cord. Nothing my pistol can't muster up. Oh, I see, it's on that plan of yours. What is she talking about? I have no idea. Keep up the good work. Spend our taxes well, young man, or John Wayne. Meg lightly chuckles. I'm so very happy to be in a nation that goes to such measures to keep an eye on those Russian spies. One thing, though. Yes, my dear boy, the war is over. The Reds have surrendered. The wall has been broken into and the CIA is full shit. Plans. They tried to brainwash my younger son. Be sure to list this as well. Don't pay them any mind, you hear? They're sneaky little devils playing both sides, infiltrating our honorable intelligence community. You understand, my dear boy? Before you know it, they're right at your back door, listening to every single thought, toying with your emotions, creeping into your bank accounts, every single one of them spying, lying, conniving, envious little KGB band. Just don't let them get the best of you. We need to remember this is the land of the free and the brave. Don't ever forget which country we live in. Don't let it get all gray. Keep it black and white. Clear. Is this clear, young man? Fully. What the hell is she talking about? Especially that whispering girl on your back. But I don't work for the government. I'm a teacher at New York University. Another cover. Smart man, this you are. One more thing. Anything for you, my dear soldier boy. If you find a little tot running around in the hallway in a year or so, just drop him off at apartment A1. May I ask why? Joyce is pregnant with my child. Paul gallops back into his residence, making hoarse noises. Kicking the door shut, Paul cracks the door with Joyce peeking out behind him. I'm very serious, Mrs. Thelman. He closes the door. Meg's voice. Oh my God, 2 spies. We hear several bolts being locked. What was that all about spies? She thinks I am here on a governmental assignment to spy on you. To spy on me? She thinks you had defected from Russia, but turned spy. Oh? Let's forget about her crazy ideas. He begins to pet her. I have a few of my own. You must enjoy the little time we have before the little bastard starts to kick otherwise. As he is about to undress, his cell phone rings. Who in damnation can this be? She crosses into the offstage bathroom. He answers the phone. Yes? A mother. Yes, she is. Now? Okay already. Joyce? I'm getting prettied up for you, Paul. Just hold your horses. My mother, she peeks out, wants to know if you have any Armenian blood in your ancestry. Even if I did, why would that matter? It's an in-law interrogation. No. She closes the door. Help me, Lord, help me. She said, what? She wants to talk with you, Joyce. Joyce, tell her I'm busy. She's busy. Doing what? No, I'm not ignoring you again. She wants to know why you can't talk with Paul's mother. Tell her I'm half naked, half pregnant with child. She peeks out. Better yet, tell her I'm talking to the canoe driver. She's... Really? Go on, tell her. She closes the door. Yes, Mother, I'm still here. Or should I? She's busy talking to the canoe driver. I said she's talking to the canoe driver. Joyce steps out of the bathroom. Voila. Paul almost faints. Interphone. No, voila. No, you heard right, but Joyce struts over to Paul. No, Mother, it's not a bad connection. As Joyce goes to her knees, she unzips his fly. As the lights fade, as the lights begin to fade, Joyce goes down on Paul. Now, Mother, stop that. She loves you. She can't wait to meet you. I'm not lying. Mother, why would I lie to you? Mother, please, can't you tell I'm... Instant. As Paul belts out a moan, he drops the cell phone, lights out. Paul's voice... Joyce's voice says, I can't wait to meet you, Mrs. Benjamin. End of scene 2, end of act 2, end of play. Oh, what a play. Now, I wrote that back in 1983, and like I said, I revised it in 2011 and to finally finished in 2013. Has a lot of potential. In the beginning, it's a little wordy, and that really needs to be deleted. A lot of that, like when he explains himself, how he met Randy, how he met Joyce and stuff, that can be like a lot of about 2 or 3 pages right there can be cut out. But once it gets going, there's a really nice sarcastic kind of coarse kind of humor there. It's very like sexual type of humor, a lot of puns that are being said, and a lot of sarcasm, very cynical and things of that nature, like Joyce is very cynical. And what the title means as far as a fish without an anchor, that is, what I meant by that was, of course, Joyce is the fish, and she is without an anchor. That is stability, security, trust. She's unable to give to a man. She's unable to have a stable relationship. So it's a fish that continuously moves about from, one fish to the next, or one place to the next, or whatever have you. In this particular case, one man to the next, and never has an anchor in place until, of course, she meets Paul. And then through some trials and tribulations, they finally manage to have a stable relationship, even though it's kind of funny in a lot of ways too. I mean, it's sexual, a lot of sexual stuff, and he's more or less going to be able to act all his fantasies out, and Paul was more, when I wrote him back in 1983, he was even more naive than he is now. And when I revised it, I tried to do it so he remained naive, he remained a mother's boy, he remained, his mother was extremely overprotective of him. made it so the mother was a typical Jewish mother, and it's true. Most Jewish mothers are like that. If anyone knows Jewish mothers, I know a Jewish mother. My mother was Jewish, but anyway, so I made it so he was so overly protected by his mother that the only time he really was thinking was when he was actually being educated, or when he was lecturing, or he was in a lab, But in real life, he was extremely unsophisticated, extremely naive, and he was actually a virgin. Actually, a virgin at the age of 30. I think I wrote his age at. I think it was 30. I wrote down. Yeah, 30. So he's 30 years old and he's a virgin. So I made him so he's very naive and innocent in a lot of different ways. And then he meets this Joyce, which is sophisticated and worldly in a sense. And she's been around so many men, and she prostitutes and all this stuff. But I also didn't want to make it appear like prostitution was too bad of a profession. Because, in my own humble opinion, speaking socially and politically, I think prostitution, which has been around for, tens of thousands of years, sort of fits a role in society. It's an outlet, like she even says in the play. It's an outlet for people to actually explore their fantasies, act out their fantasies in a controlled setting, rather than go out there and actually rape someone or do it in a real nasty, sickening way. So I think prostitution itself does have its role in society, But, I think you can only do that in Nevada, in America anyway. There are other countries out there that you can actually do that. I think like in Amsterdam or Denmark or something, prostitution is legal, Personally, I never had a prostitute. I never would want to have a prostitute. I never planned to ever have a prostitute. But I'm saying that I still believe pretty strongly that prostitution does have a role in society. Just like porn has a role in society, Playboy magazine, Hustler, all that. And it's just a way for men to, or even women for that matter, of course, but especially for men to act out their fantasies rather than do something stupid out there to a woman. So I think it has its own way of taking that physical stimuli and having an outlet for it. But anyway, so the play was really about trust and relationships. Really was about trust and love and all that. And it's about stability, security, but mainly about trusting someone. And she had a very difficult time trusting Paul, especially having been raped by her father. She had a serious problem with men. And then, of course, Elsie. I made Elsie appear like she was more sophisticated than Paul, which she was in a lot of different areas. And even though she was 8 years old, I made her charming, but I also made her sophisticated, also made her cynical. I made her really like a grown-up 8-year-old, and who was really seeking someone to love her, meaning her father. And sort of toward the end, sort of Paul fulfills that to a degree. I don't go too much into that area, but I hint at it that in the future, Paul and Elsie will be, in a loving relationship. And then, of course, Randy, I made him appear as this more or less just a male chauvinist pig is basically what I made. He was more of a typecast. He was more of a stereotype. I pretty much, overall, he's pretty much just plainly like a typecast character. That is just simply a male chauvinist pig. And then you got Meg Ryan. I think not Meg Ryan. Meg Thelman. Excuse me, Meg Ryan. But she's a cute actress, by the way. But anyway, I made Meg Thelman into this she thinks that people, she's a spy, from the KGB or whatever, and she's being spied on, and someday she's going to be caught, So I just did that as sort of just a little bit of a cute little part in there, And then the raper, then that typical stereotype slash typecast of the raper. Then John Trick, I did John Trick. I thought that was kind of cute to put that in there, especially in the beginning, because he didn't understand what a Trick or a John was, and he thought the person was actually, he thought the John slash Trick was actually a person when you put it together, John Trick. So there's a lot of different ways that when I wrote it, we drafted it in 2011, throughout 2011, 2013, I reworded it a real lot. And the wording and the phrasing and the pacing got really well, and how to play off. It's because it's really a comedy drama, so it plays off of each other as far as the comedy timing, because in comedy, timing is everything. Timing is everything in comedy. If you don't have timing, you will not be a great comedic actor, comedic actress, or even a stand-up comedian for that matter, if you don't have your timing right. Timing is everything in comedy. Drama is a little bit different. There's a lot of silences in there, a lot of spaces in there, a lot of, feeling in there. But comedy is all about timing. And so when I wrote those lines, I very well timed it out really well. I enjoyed it. It's a shame that no one ever got to produce that play. I see a lot of potential. That's one of the plays that I hold very dear to my heart. It was the first full-length play I ever wrote back in 1983. And I still believe very strongly that if it was, like I said, like if I took some of those dry parts, like 2 or 3 pages in there when Paul is explaining how he met Joyce and Randy at NYU and all that. If I take some of that out of there, and take a little here and there out of it, maybe here and there, but not much. I don't have to take a real lot out of the play. If it's directed properly, that could be a really funny play. It could be really a great play. Actually, that kind of play, if it was done right and acted right, if it was acted right and those lines were delivered perfectly, as it is written, I could see a play like that either on off-Broadway, even Broadway. That's really Broadway material. It's very Neil Simon-esque. Like, when I grew up, I watched everything Neil Simon ever wrote as far as the screenwriter, based upon his plays that he put on Broadway. Like, Out of Towners. It's funny as hell. Or The Prisoner of Second Avenue, which is sort of funny but not. It's sort of a tragic comedy he's doing there. Or of course, The Odd Couple. The Odd Couple. He's just a great writer when it comes to comedy timing. And so when I grew up and I watched those movies, even The Goodbye Girl for that matter, because he was a screenwriter in that particular play. It wasn't, that particular movie was never a play. It was just a screenplay, screen story. It was just a movie. But his timing was so good, he did such a fantastic job at it, that a lot of that rubbed off. And when I wrote this back in 1983, I was thinking to myself, I can somewhat remember it even to this day to a degree, but not as much as I did when I started writing in 2011. But it felt very Neil Simon-ish in a lot of ways, sort of in that kind of area of writing. And so anyway, I love Neil Simon as a writer. I think he's a great comedic writer. He could put some drama throughout his stuff, because what's great about Neil Simon is he's just not writing a comedy movie. He's writing an actual dramatic story that's very heartfelt and very troubling, even like a Barefoot in the Park. That's a very tender love story, and yet he was able to, with the comedy, the comedic writing he was doing in there, he made it funny, but there was a story in there that was very sad, that about this relationship between two people, that one didn't want to be a free spirit like Jane Fonda was, that the role she was playing. And, you know, that's why I say Barefoot in the Park was a way of saying he was liberated at the end. And it was a great play. Great play, but he was dealing with some social issues there and stuff like that. So a lot of that rubbed off onto me. And anyway, so, I mean, 2 thumbs up for Neil Simon. I always love Neil Simon. Anyway, but, so that's the play there. And like I said, it has a lot of potential. I can really see that being produced. It really is a producible play, but it never really got that far. I would love to see that produced. I mean, actually, in fact, if I had that kind of money, and you need really, I mean, you need like $1 million plus to even do off Broadway right. You would have to have $1 million plus. To do Broadway, you would have to have probably $5 million plus to do it right. I mean, to do it right. To hire the right people, to cast it, you would just, it would cost you an arm and a leg. But if I had that kind of money, absolutely. I would take that money that I would have. I don't have that money, by the way. But that I would have. If I had that money, let's say. If I had that kind of money, I would take that money and produce this play. And I'll tell you, it would be a hit. If it's done right. It's all, really, you have to have a great director, and that's really good with comedic timing, and then, of course, be casted right. And of course, if I produced it, I would have a say in every bit of process that goes on. I could hire the director, because normally the producer will hire the director slash casting director will hire the cast, but the producer has still really, believe it or not, though they normally leave the director alone, normally they do, they just trust the director, because once they hire that director, they trust that they have faith in that director, whoever they hire. It's a very close relationship between the producer and director when it comes to theater, live theater, that is. And so you would automatically trust the director is going to hire the right cast. But the thing is, the producer ultimately has a say over every area of the production. And the producer can even say, by the way, I don't like this particular actress. I don't think this particular actress will work the part very well, you know. And the director would either agree with that or wind up out of a job, and the producer would find another director. But normally it doesn't work out that way. The producer trusts the director so well that the director will fulfill that role as far as casting that play through his casting director, but also the director sits in on that process and watches the whole process. So the director has really the ultimate say in it. And that's through the mutual trust that he has with the producer. So anyway. But yeah, that'd be a great play to produce. Too bad I don't have that kind of money. But, oh well. It's how life is sometimes. I wouldn't mind having someone else produce it, but, you know, it costs a lot of money to produce a play. Even regional theater, it's a lot of money. Even off-Broadway costs a lot of money. Off-Broadway costs money, and then Broadway costs MAGA money. A lot of fucking money. A lot of money. So anyway, that's my play, A Fish Without an Anchor. And you guys have a good one. Bye.